Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. But you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off, it's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Hippy. Just gonna solidify everything from Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're gonna be able to find these shots true.
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an animal and immediately goes back to fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
And grand finals time is finally upon us here in Season 13 of CGL. I am here with you today. We're going to bring you the grand finals of the EU Masters tier between Pumpkings and Playgroup. And both of these teams, an outstanding season before them. Pumpkings only dropping 1 game throughout the entire season. Meanwhile, Playgroup make the comeback in the lower finals against Royal Dogs to be able to make it here after a map 5 banger. I mean, I am excited that it is these final 2 teams at the end. It is just so exciting to see them make it all the way.
Yeah, the story is just laid in stone. It is there. It is visceral. The only times Pumpkins have lost, to my knowledge, is against Ushi's Daycare in the mid-season finals. That's the only time that they have lost before this. Now they're in the grand finals. And Ushi's Daycare already been taken out by Playgroup in a very close matchup, like you mentioned, and now this is, you know, there's a reason you could have predicted that Playgroup would have made it. There's reasons why you would have, and there's no speculation, there's no tier lists. This is it. These are the top 2 teams, and the history book of CGL is wide open. The pen is ready. Someone's name is going to get etched into the history of CGL tonight.
That's right. It all comes down to this very final match. Everything before that fact, you can't look back on it. You just have to go on with the confidence. Everything learned over the past few months together and make this work. Because all it takes is 4 maps. Since it is grand finals, it is going to be a first to 4 matchup. So we could be here for a very long time, because while I do have a lot of confidence in Pumpkins as a team, as we'll kind of take a look at their opening starting 5, I mean, an impressive lineup that we've had a great honor to kind of see play throughout the season with Empire, JC, and Fizzy over on the DPS, Skiller on tank, Sempodin, and it's Desi over on support. And like I said, an impressive team that have only really fallen short in that midseason grand final. And just looking at the name talent here, it's very easy to see why.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a stacked roster. They've proven themselves through a very strong showing. They have powered themselves through to the grand finals. And someone who's not on the roster showing right now is also Skill Issue. I know that she's looking to really show herself as the best tracer of the tier. And for the rest of the team, they're confident. They should be confident. They were talking to them, and they've said they haven't lost a Playgroup. They think this is going to be just like the last matchup. But on the other side, we have Playgroup, who have proven themselves already by getting here to get into the grand finals against them. And, you know, if you run down the teams that they've beat, including Ushi's Daycare, you know, that is the team that won the mid-season. Now Playgroup are here saying, hey, you can't deny us anymore. We're here. And if they win tonight, they see it as the greatest possibility for them to get that bragging rights and to, most of all, prove that they belong.
I mean, 100%. I mean, they've already proved in a lot of situations that they do belong to be in these grand finals. But of course, back in the history books, we always remember who wins it, not who comes in second place. So they want to cement themselves on that throne and try to remove Pumpkings. And I do think it is doable. I know in my own bracket, my own predictions, I have put Pumpkings as the winners, but it's not as a means to overlook what has been accomplished by Playgroup, a team who, luckily, we've gotten to see a couple times. He broadcasted here, on Friday Night Overwatch, and it's been a pleasure to be able to watch them, to learn a lot about this team. I'm just excited to see what they bring out, because we're not where we were back in the mid-season. We are in this whole different meta where there seems to be a big emphasis on Ramatra coming out with that Sojourn, that Tracer. That seems to be the main focal point. And I mean, you talked about the skill issue on the Tracer, someone who's going to be able to come out and she's going to be able to do a lot of damage, but like every game, we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's easy saying that, but there is the opponents to, consider, and there's a lot of talent and skill on the side of Playgroup to nullify that. For example, Bergenworth, one of the funnest names to say, by the way, also is going to probably be the Tracer player, has been the Tracer player on the team previously that I've seen. Very good player in their own right against that. And as we start to look for our first map, which is going to be Busan, you're starting to think, there's lots of chances here to see those Tracers match off, especially in those large kind of open submaps like Streets and up in Sanctum? It's one of them. With the drum. Everyone knows a drum. Very open. That's going to test your spam or your dive. It's a lot harder to play that Ramatra that you mentioned, who has kind of overtaken Orisa in that brawl. And of course, always outshines Ryan, so you're not going to see Ryan. Yeah. But we are just about to take our very first step in this grand finals match between these two teams. One looking to claim their throne, the other looking to usurp it.
Yep, and of course, kind of to see how things are going to open up here is, we'll take a look in a moment to see what our first sub-map is going to be, because that is the thing about Control. You could be in a situation where you can go 2-0 and never have your preferred sub-map, as it is going to... Ooh, this is going to be interesting. Now, this is one of the more wide-open maps. When we look at something like Ramatra, we think of Mecha Base. But these can be a little bit different here. There is a little more range for something like Poke, and I think Pumpkins being a little more honest as to what they're going to run. Playgroup, they don't dare come out on the hog right away. Right.
That would be one of the strongest starting statements in the grand finals that I've ever seen in CGL. But no, yes, they're going to lock in to the dive, completely mirrored here. Now, you have to watch for these Tracers, but also those Lucios and how they can help those Tracers on those side flanks.
At 100% here is right now Pumpkins taking a little bit of control over area, forcing away a lot of the members as Coda just deleted almost instantly. Gengham being separated off to the side. Unfortunately, Bipolar Bear not going to have that extra support, going to eventually be burnt away, and that's going to be a very, very quick start for Pumpkins right away here as the point will unlock. They should be able to gather it with no issue, and everybody's going to get wiped away. Pumpkins just, they came out, they dominated that space super early on.
Here we are gassing up the Tracers, where it's Fizzy on the Echo who should be getting gassed up, because that was beautiful follow-up on the damage, especially with that beam to execute those eliminations, and that's what you want to be seeing from these Echo players.
100% here. We do see, though, Playgroup is keeping even to a degree right now. Primal Rage a little further ahead with them Bipolar Bear. Coda again being the one caught out first. Fizzy not holding back at all here, just managing to catch Coda in these bad situations, and now already in a 4v5. Gangham in a bit of a rough position, will be taken out once again. Playgroup just gonna have to hit the reset button here shortly. Bipolar Bear does have one, but it's more of a question of can they get the Primal Rage on time, but not really gonna matter as they're gonna take the L on the point. Try to see if they can get out, and unfortunately, not really gonna be able to. Will eventually be taken out, and that's just more time wasted, already 45%, and Fizzy's just finding Coda on each of these fights.
Yeah, you can really tell that that's where the scouting calls are going. Where is this Lucio? Can we follow up on this Lucio? Because once that boops out, there's not a whole lot a Lucio can do to really keep themselves alive. They need to get out quick, but in these instances, in these teams, they're so quick at following up.
At 100% cleanse out already as well. Bergenworth hoping to find something, has that pulse bomb ready to go as well. As Fizzy already getting taken care of. Gonna have to prime away just to make sure that Skiller ends up staying alive. Fizzy getting super low, but eventually the cleanup is coming through. They have a 75% play group. Just need to hit the reset button because they have a lot for this final fight, but gotta make sure everybody stays alive.
Yeah, both support ults ready on both sides here. Gods needs to build up a little bit quicker though. Gangnam also almost finding that Lucio as they go for the monkey copy and going in deep.
Yeah, and they go with the double support ultimate out the gate as well, as right now Gangnam just hoping to find something here. Fizzy already again finds the first pick onto Bergenworth. Gonna take them out. The pulse bomb sticking on into the air, forcing Bipolar Bear to use the Primal Rage, just hoping to find somebody to separate them apart. Kingdom does manage to find Fizzy eventually. Someone had to jumping back on the car, and unfortunately, while Kingdom has found two, it is just Bipolar Bear left on the cart, and nobody should realistically be able to do more after Bergenworth, who's gonna have to use the recall. Gonna have to force the retouch as Gods making their way back. A lot of stall, but unfortunately the stall not going to result in anything. Pumpkins taking 100-0 to start things out here. I mean, just an unbelievable comfortability on the Echo and the Winston as we already got a pause to play. Uh-oh.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. They're very clean. You can tell the Pumpkins, there's no need for them to have a warm-up stage. There's no jitters. They are warmed, they're ready, and most importantly, they're deadly. They know their plan. Every fight has a plan, and Kota's feeling the brunt of it on the Lucio as they are getting absolutely rattled here, especially by Fizzy, who's getting the brunt of the damage, but also by Skeller, who's following up, by Skellishu, who's on those flanks as well to look for that Lucio. Kota is probably not having the funnest time right now, but we are in a first to four. You know, it's not all about how this begins. There's time for Playgroup to get warmed up, but they can't take too long to do so. I need to see more proactivity from Playgroup and really looking for them to take a little bit more initiative. Now, we're going on to the Ramadra composition. A little bit of difference. Still have Gangnam on the Echo right now. Oh, okay, right. Gangnam's going to go onto the Tracer. Okay, so the difference now being the Moira versus the BAP. BAP gives you a lot more spam damage. Moira's a lot more survivable against those Tracers. So I feel like Skillish is probably going to be looking to take out Gods first, get that Baptiste down, and give Pumpkins the advantage.
Yeah, we can already see her with Gangnam on the point for the time being, kind of giving a little bit of pressure, but Gangnam unfortunately going to have to be forced to back out using the recall as well. Being pushed away as currently both Ramantras fighting in the center, use their Nemesis forms already, so right now in a position right now, Pumpkins again holding on to this area early. Gonna try to claim on the point right now, but it is gonna be another one-on-one situation with the Tracer, but Fizzy does get taken down, and Bergenworth going to help out as well, should be able to find the cleanup here. Skiller's still on the scene, managing to get rid of Gods though. It does have that Nemesis form, unfortunately will eventually be burned away in Playgroup. Will finally take their first fight win, unlocking the point, but Kota again goes down and goes down late.
Well, the Lucio's going to be able to get back fast. Skellishu also going down, so you equalize there. That's very good. This is what I wanted to see from Playgroup. They let the point almost get capped because they knew that if that happened, they're taking a 5v4. They have that advantage. Win that fight, then rotate round to the point. Already very quickly settling on the point as Pumpkins for the second setup.
Yeah, 100%, and again, in a weird situation right now where they just need to try to keep somebody on that point to keep things going. Causing a little bit of separation as God's already forced to use Immortality. Going to get taken down. Hey, why not throw the pulse bomb on for good measure, as right now Piper Bear trying to just keep the stall going for as long as they can for the team. Eventually will go away. Gangnam is going to invest though here with the pulse bomb. He's going to be sent back to the spawn room though, as Pumpkins will take that back, and I mean, they forced the pulse bomb out pretty nicely.
You know, you can say what you will about the skill of these players to be able to swap the DPS roles on Playgroup, but, you know, you have Skillishu who is dedicated on the Tracer, is going to be able to outperform you if you're going to be swapping back and forth. You're not going to be able to get that focus. Skiller, though, will have the Annihilation a little bit sooner here. They could go in, utilize it with the Overclock also from Bergenworth.
Yeah, 100% Gods, but have this Matrix online ready to go. And here comes the aggression with the Coalescence, as well as the Annihilation as well. They're doubling down to be able to win this fight, and it's going to pay off as they're going to wipe away, and eventually Bipolar Bear taken off the side. Pumpkins do use the double ults to be able to win that fight, but Playgroup did the exact same thing with the Overclock and the Amp Matrix.
That's the thing, use Amp Matrix, you risk the fact that they can just step past that line, and that's what a Coalescence is going to allow you to do. And now that beat's still ready from Pumpkins to nullify anything that comes up, likely just from the Annihilation. Fizzy has their Overclock now, uncontested from Bergenworth. Kota needs to beat.
Yeah, and again, bringing in the aggression. Peak way to come out online this time, though, as Bipolar Bear has the aggression, eventually going to get rid of Fizzy. Oh, we do have the trade out as well. Like, you're just trying to stay ahead right now, trying to make sure Bipolar Bear can keep on that Annihilation for as long as possible, and it is going to pay off. It is just one left on the point within skill issue. It should be burnt away. Laker will be able to stop that at about 79%. That is roughly in that one fight territory. Problem is, they are just going to have the matching Pulse Bomb for this next fight.
Yeah, Fitzy wasn't able to get that elimination onto Kota before the beat came out, and then they were so deep they used their slide to get in. That's what put them in deep issue. Both Pulse Bombs are ready, and if they can burst down the tank or get the Immortality Field out, then that's what they want to do. There it is.
Yep, going to get rid of the Immortality Field, and eventually just going to cause the rest of Playgroup to fall over. Bipolar Bear, again, still alive, but might want to eventually take the death here to kind of get the reset, because at that point, gonna flip back over to the favor of Pumpkins. So Playgroup, I mean, one plus you have, Gangnam does hold on to the Pulse Bomb, so you do have that advantage going into it, but that Coalescence is getting awfully close.
There's a chance for a window, but it's a very slim one. The Coalescence absolutely will come out here, but you're looking at this percentage disadvantage, so they need to get onto point.
Yep, and it's already going to come online. Gangnam somehow goes off the side of the cliff. I have some questions, and the rest of Playgroup will join them back in the spawn room. Kota, the last person standing on top, will get eliminated, and Pumpkins started out with a nice performance over here on Busan to put themselves up at the start of the series, and Playgroup started finding some momentum there near the end. I'm a little curious what ended up happening to Gangnam there. I'm genuinely kind of curious.
I have to imagine that they were just pressured out, and their recall came in early. They were pushed out. I'm not entirely certain, but that would be my just guess. Yeah, here's this window where they just are able to walk completely by it. The healing and the output from the Coalescence, exactly what they needed, and that's that difference between that Moira. We saw more Coalescence come out than we did Windows, and already Pumpkins, they're looking like they're not here to have this be a close match. They're not here to do anything other than to repeat what happened the last time these teams met. They want this to be a very quick, a very decisive match, because in their eyes, this is their game to lose. You know, they have the tools, they have the history, they've only lost one match before. They are only... empires fall from within, is the old adage, and they're absolutely making sure that that doesn't happen to them.
Yeah, and I think an interesting point worth noting as well is that when these teams played in the upper bracket just a little while back, they did start with Busan as well, and Playgroup actually won Busan 2-1. So not able to get the one map that they won last time. Now it's a struggle of where to go to next. I mean, previously they played on Midtown, didn't win that. And it seems that they're not going to go back there again, as they're going to take us to something a lot more dive-oriented, as we're going to go over to the wonderful place of Hollywood, which, I mean, is known for a lot of dive compositions, so I think we could likely see the Winston come out, but there is some wiggle room for the Ramatra to come out as well.
Yes, there is. Even on point 2, you can force point, you can play inside those cubbies, but ultimately that is a disadvantageous way to play, in my opinion. I just think the dive is going to be king here. Spam on the defense, if you will. But like you mentioned that Busan went a different way there. That is exactly what you want to see from a team that's in the grand finals, not making the same mistake twice. Pumpkins here to show that they are not going to be making that mistake. Here in Hollywood, though, it's all about who can make themselves that star. And Skill Issue and Fitzy, both DPS of Pumpkins, very much living up to the hype right now. Fizzy was looking so good on the Echo, didn't get as much done on the Sojourn, was a little overzealous with an overclock, which did cause their life to get ended prematurely, but now on the Ash where they can sit back and just like follow up on some hits, call some headshots for skill issue to follow up. I feel like this is going to suit Fitzy quite well in playgroup. Well, I imagine that we're going to see Bipolar Bear on the Winston go for that same dive. I want to see more proactivity from that dive than we saw in Busan. They were a little bit slow to get going there.
Yeah, I think Playgroup's going to struggle here out of the gate here if they don't get something going on this first fight, because obviously you have Tedzy and Senpai on the Brigada combination, which historically, very good combo, very hard to dive into, and it's going to be even more difficult because not only do you have the bash from the Brigitte to kind of keep you away, but Fizzy does also have their coach gun as well to push people away, as Coda, again, going to go down first, getting a nice trade out on skill issue, and Tedzy has gone as well here. Forcing out a lot of people, I think just one person on the point currently, eventually being forced out is going to be Skiller. Hoping to take at least 1 point here, as right now Bipolar needs to focus on staying alive. Coda coming back on the scene eventually, as one tick has gone through, hoping to get a second tick, bringing more pressure, bending the point a little bit to be able to do so, and it's paying off for the time being with Senpai already going down as we see that cleanse eventually be forced out, and Skiller falling, and the rest eventually will fall suit. Fizzy going to drop down on the point for good measure. Playgroup, an excellent first fight here. Now Pumpkin, we see if they're going to make the... Yep, they're going to make the change. They're going to go right back over to the Winston. Fizzy is going to go back to the Echo as well.
Yeah, brilliant. They analyzed the situation very quick there. They saw the spam. They went in quick. Polar Bear's done it again, a little overzealous there, but now they recognize it's dive, so they can't go in as hard without getting caught out. They want to control this high ground. They want to keep themselves bunkered on there and utilize this Kitsune rush.
Yep, now let's see, let's bring you a little bit of pressure to the point as well. Just making sure that you can't just push for free. Always want to be trying to give something right now. Is in a bad situation as Coda, but you get a nice trade there with Senpai, so gonna have a little more heals on the side of Playgroup. Gods, though, needs to make sure they stay alive, and unfortunately, we do have a little bit of a back and forth, but again, despite it being even, it is Pumpkins who are losing the more important members. You lose the main heals, you lose the tank, and eventually that does pay off with Bergenworth able to get rid of skill issue, getting this cart moving once more. And I mean, if you believe me on this, this feels like a different Playgroup than we saw in the first map.
Yeah, they wrote Busan off as just like either nerves or warming up. Now they're here to play. They're pretty much all ults apart from this beat. They can keep this aggression up, utilize these ults coming up with the Kitsune rush, now the double monkey dive.
Yep, right now I want to try to get rid of Senpai, who already is forced to get out of there. Gods, though, is the one that ends up going down first, trading out the Kirikos. As again, Playgroup are coming down with this fight. The winners right now eventually forcing away Skillers, and they're going to be wiping them away just to lose here on their car, and they're going to put 3 on, and they might just cap this thing. I don't know if skill issue can touch again.
Yeah, I think Pumpkins are going to abdicate this point, because right now they're being absolutely dethroned. 5 minutes on 4 point. This is what you want to see. We're here to play. But now, can Pumpkins hold in? They need to drain this time bank. They cannot let this time bank go unannounced, and there's Fitzy stepping up to the plate like they did on Busan.
Yeah, luckily, we'll get them back pretty quickly. Should be able to get a bit of space, as they use the Kitsune rush here, so, I mean, Playgroup just backs off. Gods does go down, but it really doesn't matter. They just take the reset inside. Gods will be back in time anyway, so...
Yeah. They wanted to extend that kind of stagger that happened after Fitzy got that elimination. If they got another elimination, then you get the value from that. They didn't. So now you're probably wishing you held on to it, but you've got plenty in the bank anyway to utilize this fight.
Yep, gonna bring the aggression, cleanse, getting forced out, DPS or supports making sure they stay together. Unfortunately, Fizzy not really with theirs. We do see the trade-out coming through between Gods as well. Senpai eventually taken down. Playgroup again gonna be able to get away with this fight. It's Skiller, again, they still have the ability to use that if they want to. End up not using it, though, is 4 minutes on the clock, getting this around the final corner, but, I mean, we know how difficult it is to get through this last little push here.
Yeah, it's probably one of the reasons why Pumpkins didn't utilize their ultimates. They wanted to just take that fight long, then utilize their ultimates to win this fight. Then they can really stagger them out and make use of those long sightlines for their Echo player.
Yep. I do like, though, taking your time right now within Playgroup, letting Pumpkins make the first move, start using their ultimates, because Playgroup, if they want to decide to go for a drive fight, they 100% can, and it looks like they are 100% going to go for a drive fight here. We do see one come through. Things are trading back and forth as Gangnam is actually going to invest instead, going in on this, on the copy, but having a really hard time getting enough to be able to get their ultimate online. 60% likely not going to be able to claim it though, but they're keeping the fight going. Unfortunately, not going to result in anything, and I wanted to compliment Playgroup so badly on holding back their ultimates and forcing Pumpkin to use theirs. Unfortunately, they used two of theirs, and it ends up being in vain.
I'm not sure what the trigger was for them to start utilizing their ultimates. It did seem like they were going for a dry fight at first, you're right, and they probably kind of wished that they did. Either way, they're pretty much a mirror image right now. The only thing for Playgroup is that they actually are going to have their Pulse Bomb. All support ults are going to come online this fight. You're probably looking at a beat engage. If they're tracking these ults right, you probably want to beat engage. Yeah, here it comes.
It comes through first, though, from Coda right now. Tedzy kind of waiting for their opportunity, going to send it eventually. Gods needs to try to stay alive to get this first, but unfortunately not going to get the opportunity. Bergenworth not going to get a whole lot of value out of that. It is a big trade back and forth, but Playgroup are going to have a major spawn disadvantage. It doesn't even get to play off, though, as Bergenworth still on the scene. TBV's going for their team, sitting on half health right now, though, as eventually Playgroup is going to be forced to get out of there. They have to reset.
There's a lot of heroes you can trade there as Playgroup, but your Kiriko was not one of them. Playing for that Kitsune rush was so important, but they found Gods. Gods went down. Now you do have the rush, though.
Yeah, 100% here. Advantage should be in favor of Playgroup, but they need to find a target to go in on together, because right now, they're staying far back right now. They are not targeting anybody. Eventually, though, we'll force the cooldowns out of Senpai. Need to make sure you keep alive. Bipolar eventually wiping away the rest of Pumpkins. Just Fizzy and Skiller on the point. Need to put some bodies on it. Put 3 on. Hoping to get it through. It is just Senpai who's coming back, but nobody should be able to recontest.
Okay.
Minute 39. Very respectable time here to finish up Hollywood.
Very respectable time, but also a very respectable 3rd-point hold for Pumpkins to drain it from 5 minutes. You know, they really got a grip at the game after it started to slip out of their hands a little. They were not quite getting what they wanted out of it. They took a while to adapt back onto the dive, but once they got comfortable in that 3rd point, we saw a lot of that time being drained. Playgroup, though, you're happy with that. You've got 99 seconds on the board, 1 second under 100, and that gives you lots of time to play in extra rounds. Now, they don't want to go to extra rounds. No. They want to keep this defense nice and bunkered, which begs the question: what is Playgroup going to bring in on the defense? Okay, that's not true, right? This isn't real. Pinch me, please.
I love it. I absolutely love it. This is either going to get bulldozed through immediately, or it's going to cause a full hold. I don't know if there's much of an in between. I mean, would you see this coming, Gio? Would you see this coming out?
I would absolutely not see this coming. Right. The thing. Right. This is very much like, let's play spam, but also anti-dive. But now, once the turret's gone, who's dealing with Fitzy? Gods? Well, once the turret mode's gone, you really need to be bunkered up with your Torbjorn so you don't get dove, because that Torbjorn, you really want to not use your turret mode and your Torbjorn overload at the same time. You want to have those kind of go kind of interchangeably, so you have something to deal with the dive. Oh!
Yeah, a little bit of a skill issue, unfortunately. Gaindom able to take down the Tracer here. Already going to kind of create a situation where you can't really dive up there, as Bergenworth can hold on to the wheels. And, I mean, this is going to be difficult to dive into, no matter what.
Yeah, step 1, you want to bait these cooldowns. You want to get this turret mode out. Oh, Kota, no!
Please, not again! Oh, that was scary. I thought we were going to have a repeat of Busan there. Fortunately, we'll stay alive. Ted D is going to go down. Both of the supports from Pumpkins will go down as well. As I can see, I believe Skiller's still alive back there, and they will eventually be able to get out and play group. I mean, this hold's already going better than Pumpkins. This is already a win for them.
Yeah, you are right. I mean, they are playing a counter to the attack, and Pumpkins, they do realize that all they need to do is those soft dives, but both Lucius traded. Oh!
Easily getting just bulldozed away, just getting bullied. Man, by the terraform from Bergenworth.
This is reminiscent of the first scene from Saving Private Ryan, but I don't think our main characters are making it out.
Oh no!
Skelisher gets turreted from the inside, and now Pumpkins are thinking, okay, we're not getting these cooldowns out of them. let's go for this, and you're going to utilize the wall to get close. You can, go around the side. You don't need to force down main. There's lots of options here for them now, so I like this adaptation.
Yeah, but you already see kind of bringing the pressure, trying to get somebody within there. Nobody going to get caught, though. They're going to rotate onto the high ground.
Right.
You already see Play Group amazingly rotate to the other high ground, all 5 of them with ease. Now I just got to hide away. Fizzy going to slide out of there, almost going down to the turret there. Getting super low. Luckily, does have the support as Bergenworth does have their own ultimate online. A bit of an awkward situation to use it, but I mean, if they really wanted to, they would force it. And both are going to come out, and Skiller, in such a rough situation, will eventually be taken out, giving a lot of pressure as they force Fizzy to eventually go away and just kind of forcing them into a corner, honestly, as Pumpkins is just having no luck in breaking through this play group. I mean, playing like an absolute unit on the Sigma composition.
In the grand finals, you don't come to play fair. You've not come to play chess. You've come to beat your opponent, and this composition currently has Pumpkins beat. I did like the rotation there, but with it coming up to just a minute left, they don't really have the time to play long anymore. That's kind of gone. So if they go for that again, they really, really need it to work. Pause is going to come out here from the defense, which is not healthy for me. This is not a healthy time to pause for me. Now I'm on the edge of my seat, my heart's racing, and we've got a minute to go. Play group, when I saw it, I was just like, this can't be real. And then they've proven that they can play it because they weren't getting baited out. They were really holding on to those key cooldowns like turret mode and the Torbjorn overload. I forget if that's his name or not. But it's worked so well. They've forced your opponent already to swap composition. That means Pumpkins probably really haven't scrimmed this. They're in uncharted territory, and with a minute remaining, they're going to have to improvise something real quick.
I mean, yeah, this is the point I love to bring up when we get into these playoffs, and especially these grand final situations where you enter situations where when you were at this level, or at least this deep into playoffs, you are scrimming against what is the comp that you know you're going to run into, which is going to be that Winston comp, or it's going to be that Ramatra comp. The Sigma does come up from time to time, but with the Bastion and a Torbjorn, not the most common thing in the world is they're going to go through. Same thing they did before. Play Cube going to do the same thing. Difference is Pumpkins have both support ultimates, so I think what they should do, they should force this point and they should go just play under them, force Play Group to come down, start using ultimates.
Yeah.
We see Senpai come out the gate here. First and foremost, as Play Group will drop down, and that's not what you want to run into, unfortunately. In a bit of a rough situation, the beat's going to come out. Skiller does not get caught with it, though, and that's going to be another cleanup. Pumpkins trying to get out alive as they use everything else in the book to try to win that fight.
An unforced error at this junction. That's awful. They used the wall and coalescence at the same time, and miscommunication on what was going on. And then the beat doesn't reach Skiller. Disastrous. Now you don't have the beat for Flux.
Yep, and now the Flux just waiting for the right opportunity. They're very grouped up. Freeze going to come online. Going to catch 2 people. Teddy getting super low. Doesn't get taken down, though, as the Freeze is coming online, as well as Teddy hoping to find something here, eventually forced out. As a Game Torbjorn, another ultimate online, as they're just bringing all the pressure to Fizzy, not even giving them a chance to try to bring this back. And this ends up being a dominant hold here from Play Group to tie up this series. What an attack and what a defense.
Not a single notch on that point. They have kept their plate clean, brought it to 1-1 in the grand finals with a Torbjorn Bastion spam composition. That, honestly, feels like it was targeted. That feels like they planned that they saw what Pumpkins played and they counteracted it perfectly. They knew what the win condition was for their opponents as well, all about baiting cooldowns, getting turret mode out, etc., and they didn't let it happen. In fact, I think that they actually used Kota as a sort of intentional bait on that forward high ground a few times there, and yeah, Kota got caught out once, but the trade was enough, and I really love that idea that they have map-specific plans. That should scare Pumpkins, that if Pumpkins overlooked Play Group, didn't think that they'd make it, suddenly Play Group are the ones that have the plans for one team where the other team doesn't. Is this scary for Pumpkins now?
I mean, it has to be scary, and I will say it does have to go scary both ways because these two teams faced each other very recently. The meta has not really changed since then, so they know more or less what they were running originally and what they should run. It's when we run into these situations where you have this special plan, like people have these for things like Hollywood, like Kings Row, like Circuit Royale. It happens, and I'm really excited, but the one thing is, though, this can work on Hollywood. It can work on a map like that. However, we move over to Flashpoint, especially Suravasa, you don't really get that kind of opportunity like you would on Hollywood to pull something out that is a little more unique, because here, this is all about speed. This is all about being able to make your way to these points quickly, to play a lot of brawl-like compositions. And I mean, you could technically still run that. It's just not going to work the way it worked before, by any means.
Yes, you know, it's a lot harder to like have a map specific plan for a Flashpoint, particularly Suravasa, where a lot of the points, you know, they're not as dynamically different as with Junk City. It's why a lot of people prefer Suravasa, because every Junk City point has an individual quirk, where Suravasa, there's not as much difference in terms of how you want to be playing those points. Definitely thinking Ramadra's coming out now. That was back and forth for a moment in terms of that kind of mirror matchup. I'm not going to get baited by this, but also it wasn't a bait last time in Hollywood, so I don't know what to think.
I mean, to be fair, I think when you're in this situation, if you're realizing you're not winning that Ramatra duel, I mean, if you just ran something that just destroyed them on the Winston and the Ramatra, why not? If it's not broke, don't fix it. They're going to run it again, and you know what? Oh my god.
Well, goddamn, you know, they found a little gem in the stone. Why not just keep mining it? Fair enough. How will this work out? Because if they utilize this mode enough, then they're definitely going to burst down Skiller easy.
I mean, yeah, but the thing is that Playgroup does need to buy themselves a little bit of room here, because they do have a lot of characters that are going to have kind of a benefit with a little more of a longer range by Polar Bear. They even like gain them to an extent with that turret. It could be a nice, that's going to be a nice little move to kind of take them off. Bergenworth kind of just playing around, getting a lot of pressure. Is a giant target, will trade somebody with them, but that is a lot of damage that you're losing within that bastion. So Playgroup going to find themselves in a rough situation. Eventually will be taken out. Just a little more stall on the point, just to try to take away an extra couple bit of percentages, and eventually Coda will go down after honestly a pretty good stall there. As Playgroup gonna try it again, but Pumpkins sing through the disguise this time.
Yes, you know, it's a lot harder to play it here because you don't have so much room, especially now that you're on the attacking end of this point. You need to be pushing, and that's where the advantage comes into Pumpkins, who are probably going to have their overclock next fight, and Coalescence, where you can at most build a window. You're in a really tough spot here. This is really Pumpkins' fight to win.
I mean, yeah, 100%. It's going to be a rough situation here. So you already see Kaz getting some pressure in the backline from Skill Issue. She's really just trying to deliver as much as she can, and you see the wheels coming out kind of early here. Force them into a corner, eventually going to focus the pressure on the point here. Pumpkin going to have to force away, but Kingdom's already got two, and Playgroup might eventually be able to take this away, but we see the force coming through from Senpai in the 5v3 situation. Unfortunately, not going to pay off, and that's an investment from both sides, but it ends up working out for Playgroup, and Pumpkins do put themselves in the one-fight territory. So Playgroup gonna have a ton coming online here, but this could be a rough one for Pumpkins.
Tell me one other region of Overwatch played that would have the absolute gall to play this composition and win a fight on it like that with a triple kill from a Torbjorn. And now they have their Flux. Etsy doesn't quite have that beat yet, so if they know that, they should be going quick here with the beat not ready.
I mean, they should, but here comes this engagement instead. Fizzy going through, hoping to find something. Pulled down, the Flux coming online, hoping to find something. Ends up coming. That was kind of weird how that worked, but hey, why not? The beat comes online, cannot save Skill Issue as Bergenworth in a bit of a rough situation. Here comes the investment from Skiller, as the beat ends up not really paying off at all. Pumpkin invest 4 of their ultimates into that fight. They don't come away with the win. Teddy will get out as Skiller gonna go over to the Orisa, but can they even force the retouch?
This is the second time in the grand finals where Pumpkins have been forced to swap their composition. They're not going to be able to touch, they're not going to force it, they're going to play for the next point, which is the smart decision, and it does actually work out in their favor as the point is quite there. There's going to be a fight here at this choke, but the Orisa is going to be more survivable in theory against this composition.
Yeah, and Skiller already be forced to use like most of the cooldowns out the gate. You're not going to have the gold for this fight. Gonna use the spear to kind of back them away, but Skiller eventually is going to be forced to back off, and they just chase them down. Skiller just deleted from this world and Playgroup. I mean, I said it before, Gio, but I genuinely made it now. They have found the secret sauce against this Pumpkins team, eventually grinding them away. Should be able to unlock the point first as well. And they're coming up on a ton of their ultimates here in the next fight or two. And Pumpkins, because of the swap, they've got nothing but maybe a Coalescence. Maybe.
They'll get a Coalescence this fight, but Skiller, like, you have to recognize that Orisa's just much less survivable, even in that gold mode, moves slower. That's why she's fallen out of the core meta right now. It's more survivable than Rematch in a lot of ways, but you need to be playing it very smart. Your cooldowns are worth so much more than they used to be.
Yep. Turk gonna be taken out kind of early here. Playgroup coming up on a lot, but there's the pressure you're looking for as I think we might know who, I think we know something that went down there. That is now the third pause we've had so far, which,
yeah, a little bit of a rough pause. There was already an elimination that came out. Arguably, the fight had begun, but either way, it does look like Playgroup have lost that. And unfortunate that is the way, unfortunate that someone's having tech issues, especially in the grand finals of all times. But they already have high percentage. They'll have 50% by the time the fight's over. If they lose it, that is. Pumpkins will finally get a little bit more steam. They can win it without the Coalescence being used. Then they've got a Coalescence for the next fight. And they can start to get some, momentum, get that economy, start to roll. And now we're looking a lot better, because especially with the Genji pick, there's a few reasons for it. One, deflect, very strong when turret mode's being used. Two, being able to just dink away the health of Bergenworth, as you're about to see that happen. Punch comes through, and yep, that's Pumpkins taking the fight.
Yeah, it's just going to be a little bit of stall on the point. Again, Coda usually pretty good at the stall situation. Won't be able to make it back on, but 56%, still a lot to work with. And speaking of a lot to work with, Playgroup, 80+% on 4 of these ultimates. I mean, it's just slightly ahead of Pumpkins, but if they're just able to zone out this Coalescence, I mean, that could be huge for them.
Yes, and you do have both supports already ready from Playgroup. Teddy needs to get there a little bit quicker, but that Coalescence will be enough to get them through. Anyhow, it's just how much space can be created from Gainum laying down the carpet against the blade of Skillishu.
There it is. Yep, there it is. Beat online, ready to go. Everyone's still alive, and look at this, a perfect zoning right there. They just end up being able to use the immortality. They're going to be ready to push through here. Coda has that beat. Likely going to get matched with Teddy as soon as they go in for the aggression. And here we go. It's going to bring it in deep. Eventually going to be used. Coda and Teddy holding onto it. Actually not going to use it in time, as Killer is going to get caught, and Fizzy is going to go in with the investment on the 4v4. Bergenworth needs to find a target to shoot, because right now it's already at 50 or 85%. They need to make their back the way to the point. Tried to force it. Unfortunately, damage is looking like it's already been done, as the point, while it does flip, again, damage has been done already. Playgroup just sitting down. Is they're going to throw in the blade? What?
They think it's winnable. Skillers is back.
I know, but the fight was already... It was just Bergenworth. They pulled the blade on just Bergenworth and Coda while they were in a 3v2, 4v2. I think the blade...
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say potentially a little bit of a waste.
It's potential, but if you think about what is really the value of Blade in this compositional matchup, there's not too much value from it, especially, without that nano boost against such high armor targets. We're not in that new era of that burst damage being better against armor, so I can see that they're kind of just seeing it as more of a tempo ultimate rather than a win condition. Speaking of win condition, though, they do have the flux here. Teddy is going to be able to beat for it.
Yep, gonna go in, hoping to find somebody. Really, just trying to get somebody in a weird situation. Just gonna end up throwing it around as Coda will go down first again. Unfortunately, Coalescence just to really solidify this fight win, as I think Play Group have already invested one ultimate, kind of not going to get much more value out of this. Bipolar still has the Flux. I want to see them hold on to it, but they're going to go with the investment here. Get speared out of it now! And Gangnam somehow manages to find two in the process. Even if back up the fight, it is just the supports on the point, trying to hold on as Fizzy on top, hoping to find another target. And despite such an amazing spear from Skiller to knock Bipolar out of their ult, it's looking like Play Group will eventually take this back, take first control of the map. I mean, that was just an incredible back and forth. I'm a little surprised Play Group ended up taking that one.
Yeah, they did have to invest, of course, the Flux, as well as laying down the carpet, but now they can step back, build up their own beat, which, you know, you're not quite at Blade yet, you're not quite at Terra Surge, so you probably just want to play, perhaps with the high ground, poke and prod, get some ultimates, and then push in once you're ready. And Skeller has that ultimate to keep himself alive mid-fight.
Yep. Coda having that beat. One saving grace for Play Group right here. It's Pumpkings. Gonna have that Terror Surge shortly. Likely gonna take that as the aggression is already on the point. Bergenworth already taken down, though. Again, a massive target to be able to go in on right now, as Play Group might just be focusing on just stalling the point at this juncture, and 100% it is just gonna be a stall of the point, eventually draining the West away. It is just Coda on the point. Eventually taken out. Will get their team to 75%, though. One fight territory again with Pumpkins. Don't have to expend any ultimates to win it.
Shock value of this composition has worn off. Play Group, they've noticed it. They've worked you out. Now with the Zarya, I mean, is it counter swapping? Yes. Does that matter? No. It's about winning. No. What matters is winning. And Zarya is a very good choice here against Genji and Orisa.
Yep, we see the double ult used out the gate here already. Just going to take the reset. Fight's already over. And you know what? Honestly, that's good for Play Group. They managed to get a little bit more charge. Game eventually gets reset. Plenty of time to come back for a next touch. And I mean, the biggest worry is the Blade, but you do have the beat for it.
You've got the beat for it, yeah. The Blade will get more value against this composition, but counteracted by the beat, of course, it's not gonna. Coalescence, though, from Pumpkings is gonna be what they're looking to utilize. Perhaps they want to go nice and aggressive here with the Coalescence and the Blade to burst through that extra health from the beat.
Yep, and here comes that Blade ready to go. Coda gets hit with the Ajax! And Skill Issue gets two! Make it three! And it is just Gagum on the point. Eventually gonna be taken out of there as Pumpkins 1 point away from taking Suravasa, and Play Group. The magic is slowly beginning to run out.
Poor Coda has gotten the brunt of so much of Pumpkins' attack. Skill Issue with a brilliant Blade. Of course, boosted by the Coalescence, but that's exactly what you're looking for when you have that Genji swap. Now you've got your own beat to stay alive against this window if it causes you issue, as currently Play Group taking control of the point, but it's not unlocked. They're not going to get a lot from this.
I mean, no, they buy some space, but there's plenty of time for Pumpkins to go over here and force a touch, but Fizzy already going to go down. Gangnam still alive, delivering a lot of pressure here. Is no one going to make it back to that point? You see, Teddy just decided, let me just run through the enemy real quick, thank you very much. Gonna throw in the grab, it is going to airball, get next
zoning
to
grab.
Value. Yeah, a zoning grab, that's what we use that ultimate for. But, important part, they do win the fight, but now Gangnam not really going to have a combo for that, as Pumpkins coming up to the beat. And the Terror Surge, which, those can be very threatening and very space controlling.
The plan here is absolutely to force Teddy out, of getting this sound barrier. Once the sound barrier is out, Bergenworth absolutely free on the overclock. That needs to be the plan from Play Group. If the overclock and the beat happens, then they're not going to get the value that they want.
Yep, Terror Surge coming in, not a beat this time to kind of keep going, keeping Bipolar in a weird situation, gets super low, and Skiller just needs to stay alive. Eventually, Bergenworth going in with the aggression on that, make it two, keeping things alive here for Play Group, but it's still a winnable fight for Pumpkins if they want to take it, as they're kind of holding back and just waiting to force this touch. Killer gonna go on the Ramatra here, as they are eventually looking like they're gonna be forced away a bit, gonna be forced in, basically gonna try to die for the touch. The beat coming out, not able to get Fizzy in time. Coda is going to come back with the beat, can invest it if they want to, but I know they want to try to hold on to it if they can, and it's looking like they're gonna be able to. And Gio, it's gonna come down to the 5th and final point.
My God, well, playgroups have already proven that, you know, it's not just that one shot composition it's won it for them, it's just their abilities. And I gotta say, I'm a little shocked for Teddy holding onto that sound barrier for so long. I don't know what the call was on that one, but that was a really big decision that did not work. But they are gonna have Coalescence to win this next fight, take control of this first and last point. Whoever takes this will take themselves into the lead again. If Playgroup do it, it'll be the first time that they've been in the lead against Pumpkins in this series.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be fantastic if they managed to pull it off. But Pumpkins, they do have that open space to begin, and they're going to go with the investment here. Fizzy going to go ahead and use the overclock here. Unfortunately, not going to have the same value from getting them on the other side. Pumpkins should be able to win this fight, but they are just now unlocking the point. So as long as Playgroup can regroup here, I mean, they should be able to regroup, like, pretty quickly, honestly.
Yeah, quick regroup. However, the Coalescence still ready from Pumpkins. They played it well. Both support ults ready from Playgroup. Gods needs to get a nicely placed window so that the Coalescence doesn't just push right by it.
I mean, yeah, 100%. But no, already going to come out here with the Coalescence on top of each other. Needs to make sure Coda stays alive, as right now skill issue already being forced to use that deflect into it. Polar Bear getting low, but has the support of God still with them. Coda does have the beat if they need to use it. Just waiting for that opportunity if it needs to come through, because Bipolar Bear is super low, needs to be kept up, as getting them sitting on 1 health. Eventually going for the boom, will accomplish it. Even if he thinks back up, but Skill Issue has now found another. It is a 3v3. Be going to come online. This time it comes through, but it might be too little and too late for the blade. Eventually being drained away. 69% on the board. It is just Fizzy. Eventually will get burnt away. But the fight is not over yet, Geo. As people keep flooding in, but unfortunately, that might be a mystery there for Skiller.
Well, they wanted to really hold Coda's beat. They really wanted that sound barrier for the next fight, and it was a really greedy play, and it almost worked. It almost paid off. Now you're not going to have it. Definitely, probably not until the end of the match. This Graviton Surge needs to do a lot. Maybe utilize it onto Skiller and get that ultimate out of them. If you're keeping a track of what they've got, you know that this Annihilation's ready.
Yeah, Nemesis Form already going to be used. Forces it out right now. Here comes right now. It's coming through. It's going to get them. Pulse coming through. Going to get rid of 2. Eventually going to clean up the remaining members, and with 70% already taken away. A retouch going to be next to impossible for Pumpkins here, but they have to try to force it, Gio.
I think you want to position forward. If you're Playgroup, you know that you don't have the ultimates anymore. At best, you get window, but you're against a beat that's almost definite. 5% though. Someone does need to touch. They don't touch. I feel like that's touchable, no?
I don't know if it was. I mean, they went as fast as they could. They even swapped to the Winston to be able to try to make it. They just are literally a few frames short of getting that contestment. They see the monkey try to go over. They just could not get that. I mean, that's just insane.
I gotta say though, Coda probably feels a little bit better after this point, because after being bullied by so many dives and ultimates, they got some good boob kills. You saw it on that play of the game. You also saw it on the third to last fight against the opposing Lucio. Playgroup are in the lead. The Playgroup are in a position where they can really walk towards. Now, it's not a best of 5, folks. It's a best of 7. So this is not match point yet. There's still plenty more of this match to go, and it will happen after a short break. Don't go anywhere too far, folks. Get a quick snack, because I feel like this one could definitely go the distance. We'll be right back.
Lots of love. Lots of love. Lots of love. Got lots of love.
Welcome back, everybody. From our break here, we are back with the grand finals of the EU Masters tier. And so far, Play Group, I would say the underdog going into this one, currently has the lead over Pumpkings 2-1. After finding some secret sauce on Hollywood and able to have some amazing swap-ups back on Saravasa, they find themselves in the lead, but Pumpkings have an opportunity to bring themselves back into control because Geo, they will have the map selection before them, and they're going to take us over to New Queen Street, which, I mean, if I was to ever pick Ramattra for a map, this would probably be the map I would select it for.
Yeah, there's a lot I don't want to predict anymore, almost, because of like what we've seen. We saw it get really into that kind of like slobber knocker, back and forth, punch for punch kind of trade off between the compositions, kind of flickering back and forth. Really engaged by Playgroup, who have really shown that they can, bring out some compositions that are going to surprise Pumpkins, that Pumpkins aren't going to exactly be ready for. And that's exciting. It creates a very entertaining environment, but also it creates a little bit of chaos. And when you're the underdog, chaos can really work in your favor.
Yeah, 100%. And, we did see the kind of the iteration of the Zarya, and the Zarya was working well overall, but I don't think we got a big enough sample size to see it work against the Ramatra. And, if we want to look back, the last time these teams face off each other with their Ramatras back at Busan, did not end very well for Playgroup, so I think they are going to keep it up with the variations and try something outside of that Ramatra. Maybe you could bring back out the Zarya, maybe you could try to force the dive. I just think at this point, you've realized you are not finding the same success on the Ramatra. You are running things like that Sigma and that Zarya, and you should just keep at it at this point, because it's just that situation where if it's working, just keep going. Genuinely, just keep at it. There's no reason to force something just to mirror if you're not as good at it on this time.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw things get a little, shaky there on Survival. I mean, they kind of, the secret sauce on Hollywood did get it got figured out. The ingredients got leaked online and people found out and started making their own. But, does that mean we are going to go back to more of that mirror Ramatra? Perhaps that's what we see. We are currently just waiting for one of the players to be ready. We don't have all the players in the lobby right now. We're just working that out, but as soon as we get that sorted, then we'll be right in.
Yeah, 100%. Want to make sure everybody's going to be good and ready to go, because I mean, in terms of recent memory, this is going to be the most important match of these players' lives, of these organizations, kind of lengths, which it's always weird to be in this situation, because it's, when you look on the outside view of it being grand finals, it's really hard to kind of feel the pressure that these players are feeling right now, because this isn't just, oh, we're on the upper bracket, we have a second life, or, okay, we're just in the regular season and, we can afford to lose a couple of games. This is it. Whether you win or lose, this is the final game of your season, and you don't want to make it all the way here just to take that loss at the very end. I as a caster, as someone who's played the game a lot, I still cannot imagine that feeling.
No, I can't. I've scrimmed the game for years. I've never actually won a tournament though, so I don't know how it feels myself. I've watched so many players win and cement themselves champions, be able to have that bragging rights, and you'll win lots of money as well. But I've yet to do it myself. I'm better at talking about the game than I am actually playing it, it would seem. But let's get back into this one. Let's ground ourselves here in a situation where it's Playgroup in the lead. Suddenly, what people would call the underdogs are in the lead, and it's all down to their adaptability, their spryness on their feet about what they're choosing for the compositions. And
controlled now.
Yeah, okay, right. I know I don't want to say this is troll, but this is troll.
I mean, yeah. Coda? Gods, I know you're not going to stay on that honor, right? I know you're going to go over the Kiriko. Don't mess with us. Right,
there ain't a chance we see Anna come out with a Lucio like that in this day and age in this particular patch. We're sticking to Venture.
Really interesting.
Now, so Skill Issue is out right now. Emperor's in. Maybe that's the Venture player. Venture can really counteract Tracer if Tracer gets caught out. So you see them checking that angle. You can really watch them looking for that Tracer.
Yeah, gonna go underground as well. Gonna go chase after the Tracer, really just try to force them out of there. But the one thing is, it is taking a lot of attention, but with Bipolar Bear already gone and Coda basically getting thrusted into the rest of the enemy team, Pumpkings will take that very first fight. And now you gotta rethink here for Playgroup how you're gonna do this, because Burgerworth just not really able to take any substantial angle here.
Adventure, I personally haven't seen them play too much, but Emperor coming in with it already, catching Coda out. You know, you get caught out by that drill. It's not just the damage it does to you; it's the fact that you've been pushed out of the way and into a position you don't want to be in.
Yeah, 100%. We see this kind of dive here in the backline. Again, forcing Coda into a very weird spot. Bipolar Bear, again, just getting a ton of pressure. Gods can only do so much, and what a series of shots from Fizzy to take Gangnam out of the sky. And now Playthrough, I mean, gonna have a large struggle to be able to pull this one back here. Just staying on pace, just going with the aggression, trying to get rid of Bergenworth, who's just really trying their dangest to be able to survive on the point. Just flying around, eventually will be taken out, and Playthrough just not able to get anything going on this composition. You wonder, how quickly could they end up swapping with things going this disastrously already?
Yeah, the battle of the ingredients here. We have Pepsi versus Coca-Cola, and right now one of these colas is definitely winning it out, with Fitzy as well being so acutely accurate with that Peacemaker. And, you know, there's also the aspect that we've got everyone on Playgroup is a movement hero. You hit them with that nade and they're hindered. They can't use those movement abilities. Suddenly Fitzy is one of the scarier members on the Pumpkins.
I mean, 100%. I used to be, way back in the day, I was teammates with Fizzy back in 2020. It's been a long time, but they're still popping up to this day. Managing to find two with that Deadeye, helping clear things out, and Pumpkins 70 meters and counting at Playgroup. Have not been able to figure out anything yet.
If this continues, it's an absolute evisceration here on New Queen Street. Pumpkins, they've got the beat to stay alive in this fight as well. Coda not quite at it. You're looking at this Kitsune Rush, but with the beat counteracting it, the Annihilation stay alive. And Gods is gone. You don't have the Kitsune Rush.
No, and now you're getting cleared away again, and now you just have to dime the point and reset because you don't want to waste that beat. And Bipolar is going to use this, and that is important right there. You get rid of Emperor, and now Bipolar just needs to get out and stay alive. You're not going to kill anybody else. They're going to get the support from Gods, and now you will finally get a 5v4. And Playgroup, please, you should be able to win this now.
Yeah, I just laughing at the animation of Ventrican taken out. B comes out aggressively, as well as the Kitsune Rush. Heavy investments, but they're looking to definitely take this fight. They've already got what they need. Finally, a fight win in the bank for Playgroup. Heavy investment though, because they've won the fight. Forward spawns enabled. Pumpkins are going to be able to very quickly meet you, and they're going to have the sound barrier still, as well as the Venture Ultimate, which is unlikely to get lots of the members because of how much movement ability, but if you catch Bergenworth out, that ultimate from Venture is just going to eat them up for breakfast.
Yeah. They do manage to get it to the midway, though, so I'm going to try to get a little bit of progress on it. It's right now paying no mind to Gangnam on the point right now. Just not even caring for their existence. Unfortunately, Pulse Bomb not going to get anything just right now. Just getting a little bit of progress, honestly, getting the 5 meters. At the very least, you force them away, and you do force out a couple of really good ultimates from Pumpkins. I think that's ultimately one of the best things you could have hoped for that fight without any real ultimates online.
Yeah, and you don't get much movement, but yeah, that was mostly about trying to get ultimates out. Only 2 though. You kind of wanted one of those support ultimates because that's still a lot. They have enough firepower to win this map out right now. In fact, both High Newtons.
Yeah, both come out. Fizzy does end up fighting Bipolar Bear, and unfortunately will end up fighting Gods as well. Already finding 2, gonna clear out Playgroup, who just need to back up now because you do not have much room to work with. You need to secure everybody's lives, and Coda, unfortunately, not gonna be able to, as Playgroup cannot lose another fight.
They can, but look at this position. Bipolar Bear is down. They are up against it. They're as pushed into the corner as they can be.
I mean, 100%. Now Playgroup struggling as we see them come out on the Wrecking Ball now. Bipolar Bear hoping to find something. Gangnam unfortunately being caught with the Hinder Grenade, not able to stay alive any longer as the ball is on the scene. But Playgroup having just the struggle to bring out enough damage to take even a single person down. And what a flick from Fizzy! And now Bipolar Bear eventually going to get cleaned up and just trying to get people on the point one by one. Gangnam goes in with the pulse, does manage to help get rid of Teddy at the very least, but the damage hasn't been done as much as you would really hope, as Playgroup are really just staggering onto the point, finding a pick here and there, but Geo, they need to find at least one more, but that Deadeye from Fizzy might have finally secured his Bipolar, eventually goes down, and eventually it feels like Playgroup should be able to take this
Wait,
back, but what a fight.
Yeah,
What?
without the Baptiste, suddenly it turns around. Skillers actually thinks that they can take it. I've got bad news for you. Yeah, you're not going to get that. That was a great elimination. Getting the elim onto Senpai Odin is exactly the thing to unlock that. That's the key there. Now you've got 3 minutes 50 to basically push your bot all the way up to Playgroup, all the way up to Pumpkings spawn, I mean. Playgroup are in a very, very tough spot, and they've not adapted their composition. They went back to the Ramatra. They need to find the secret sauce. They need to find how to counteract the value that Fitzy is getting on these angles with Cassidy.
I mean, yeah, 100% right now we're going to see the Deadeye come through here with that window. Going to end up catching two. That's the start they needed. Gets rid of the over after Burgerwood has found a third, hoping to figure out more, clear away the final members. Eventually will be able to whistle them out from Bipolar Bear, taking their first genuine fight win in enemy territory. It's a first step, but there's a lot more steps to go, Gio.
Bergenworth proving their worth. That was a great high noon. You get the tectonic shock gone as well. Now, Ultimate's ready from the support lines of Pumpkings, and you want to get your forward spawn. You've got the sound barrier to do it, but you don't have a lot of teeth. Senpai Odin can give the rest of their team teeth with this window, however.
Yeah, Pulse Bomb's still online though. Could be the saving grace for the team of Playgroup as the window comes online in a very awkward spot online, just forcing people off of that middle high ground in a nice stick to get rid of Senpai, evening things back out. Playgroup going to invest with the beat, still evened out though as Teddy was up in the air, will be able to get the beat out though. Skiller just trying to stay alive in this Nemesis form, looking like they're eventually going to be able to clear things out. But it's such a back and forth affair, but there is a slight advantage for Pumpkins within the spawn, and Playgroup eventually gonna be, I was gonna say forced out the rest of the way, but Burgerworth is still on the scene, is still trying to keep their team alive, and eventually, I mean, what a fight, Gio. That's all I've gotta say. What a fight.
I know that Hinder Nade is like canonically like impossible to miss, but I don't know how it didn't connect there to Skiller. That would have gone elimination and really changed things, but either way, Bergenworth and Fitzy, there's not enough room in this map for both Cowboys, and they both have their Deadeye. Someone has to break here.
Yep, Deadeye online, a very awkward spot. They're going to speed them in, and ends up getting caught there, unfortunately. Another trade out, Immortality Field, just short of being caught, and now Skiller will end up going down as the cart is being stolen away for now, just trying to negate some of the progress they could have gotten. Gangnam though does realize, will try to trace down Teddy as we see the deaths on the point take place, and Playgroup will be able to get a little bit more progress, but Pumpkins at the very least took away a ton of time off that clock.
They've won one fight, and they have a minute to win potentially 2, 3, 4 fights in a row now that they need to do. They have the arsenal. They just can't overinvest in any of these fights. They need to be the most economically minded that we've seen them throughout this entire match.
Yeah, I mean 100% here. Playgroup just can't hit the overinvestment. They have the advantage. They just need to find one good ultimate to kind of break through this kingdom right now. That is Pumpkins that have had an amazing start, but need to finish with a nice hold here because this could get out of hand quickly. As Bipolar Bear going to go with the aggression, trying to find something with their annihilation, but gets annihilated themselves instead. A pulse bomb, hoping to find something. Unfortunately, just trading things out, but Burgerwood is still on the scene. Needs to get that reload in time. Just trying to stay alive. Needs to find the shot. Trying their Vegas to. Eventually will, and they're hanging alive as best as they can. The window comes out eventually. Will get it in overtime. Will get the checkpoint and Playgroup keeping themselves alive.
They have kept themselves alive. Now they need to get themselves winning, and that's going to be so tough. Bergenworth needs to get back here into the Deadeye because the tectonic shock's going to come out with the window and only one sound barrier.
Yep, and it's out. That is all they have left with that Deadeye. It comes out. It does find Emperor. Bergerwood, though, needs to stay alive. Unfortunately, does not as Bipolar Bear needs the support of Gods and Coda right now. Needs to become a fixture on this point as Skiller is getting really close to this annihilation, and that could spell the end here. As the it catches Coda, and now Bipolar Bear getting super low. Bergerworth gonna try to make it back, but the trade outs are too much for Playgroup. Bipolar Bear gone, God's gone. Pumpkins,
Ooh.
with that outstanding push in the first few minutes, end up taking this one, tying back up this series once more. And what a display from this team to come back from those back-to-back map losses.
Wow, yeah, Pumpkins really made a statement there. They needed to get a hold of this match that was running away for them. We are 2-2 here, and that means that another team needs another 2 wins to finish this series. Are we going to see 7 maps in this grand finals of the Masters tier in EU? That is not something I would have particularly predicted, but that's something that's definitely possible. We are on that track because, yeah, Pumpkins, they were really good, but a lot of their strength came from the front end of that match, where they really just packed Playgroup up into the corner. Playgroup did such a good job to get to where they got to. It's just that they won about half the amount of team fights that they needed to win to even equalize the map and fight and contest to try and win the map. They did really well. Some great heroic moments there, particularly from Bergenworth, to try and turn that around. But at the end of the day, the economy wasn't there. The High Noon didn't get the value, at least the high-end value that they were looking for. Then on the other side of things, Fitzy gets theirs, Annihilation, and it all just like unfolded from there. The fight went long enough that the side of Pumpkins able to get their ultimates. But now we slow things down. We step away from push and into ye old payload and ye old Junkertown, where things are looking a little bit more rusty.
Yeah, things likely going to dilute to either poke or even to the dive as well. I think either between that Sigma or that Winston. But I mean, all things considered, I would just imagine you would keep that Sigma composition if you were Playgroup. It's worked out fantastic for you so far. And at that point, Pumpkins either just have to try to run back the Sigma, try to force their own dive. I think this is a perfect map selection for Playgroup to come in and try to bring the series back into their favor once again. But I mean, first we have to kind of look over here because it's looking like Skill Issue will come back in over Emperor. So I imagine they're trying to bring back the Tracer then?
Gotta be. That's gotta be the idea. And then you also have Skill Issue. She's come out on Genji as well, and that's also something that you have in your arsenal now, and a map where you can get really stuck up with a spam and then you need to force yourself onto dive, or you just start out and dive. So I think that's a good decision there. That means that they had their one match, Emperor, so they can say that. But actually, hold on, wait a minute, reverse it. We're on a different schedule here. Skill Issue's actually on the Widowmaker. Fitzy's on Hanzo, which a little bit old style here, a little bit old style spam, but classics are classics for a reason. So I'm loving this already. Playgroup, they're not playing fair.
I mean, no, not at all. I mean, man, now I'm curious how much of this is actually going to stay, because I imagine they're just going to swap over to, back to the, to the Sigma? Oh, to the, ooh. Okay. Now this gets me curious. I don't know.
I could see them swapping off the Brig, because I don't know how pressured Gods is going to get other than from spam damage. Getting that shield isn't as powerful as, like, the anti-dive off. The accretion just hitting you mid-air. At least you get the accretion out, those kind of go a little bit.
So the Nakam Online ended up catching 3. It got the Immortality Field out already, so I mean, another big nade from Gods here, would go an extremely long way. And Skill Issue already being taken down by Bergenworth as well right now. Kingdom just trying to be a nuisance in the front line as much as possible. Eventually going to join in the background as Teddy just did not stand a chance, getting drained away. And now a super quick push here coming through from Playgroup, as it is really just Skiller on the floor right now. Needs to get some support, but only really has Senpai to help them out, as someone has to retouch this, but I don't think anybody can, as Playgroup, an outstanding point A push.
Beautifully steady, beautifully paced. They played that kind of textbook soft eyes to push them out, create the position on the map, diving for map control, not for eliminations, then following up once Skill Issue was taken out. Now that there is a Tracer on the defense, Gods could be under a little bit more pressure, but with both a Tracer of their own and a Brigida, Skill Issue's going to really struggle by themselves on that side flank. How does Polar Bear go down there?
I mean, they were just getting a lot of pressure. Nice slip on the Fizzy, though. Buy them a little bit of space. Should be able to let Play Group reset pretty quickly here. So, I mean, they're coming up on a lot here. And the thing is that Teddy is nowhere close to this Transcendence, and Gangnam is getting really close to this Blade.
Yes, that blade will definitely get a lot of value there, but that almost this whole entire support line getting caught out by where that dragon was going. But you can see Gangnam is hungry for it, really looking to build that blade as fast as they can to push into this one. As you said, Teddy not ready.
Nope, not at all. Having to use the nade on themselves. Here comes the Nano Blade going out. Gets deleted! Oh my god! Quicker went all in with that one. Does not pay off. Teddy on the scene once again. Ends up getting a 2K for their own. Will eventually clear them away as Play Group. That was their ace in the hole, the Nano Blade, and it just gets eviscerated.
Yeah, that is the word, eviscerated. Teddy stepped up to the plate and then some. Incredible. Doesn't have Transcendence? That's fine. I've got my orbs. Takes you out. Perfect play. Now you have Transcendence as well. For I guess you just kind of use it now to kind of stay alive against a dive, but you've got time to kind of be alive, utilize this Flux. The Brick Rally not as good as Beat, but still okay at nullifying the Flux. So you're looking to use the Flux to get the Rally out.
Yeah, and for Bipolar, gonna go with the aggression here because they do have a second life, and they're gonna use that a little aggressively as well. Need to not stand on that side of the Amp Matrix, just trying to do what they can to separate, eventually pushing away Skiller, who has that Flux, will end up using it. They're super low, literally we're gonna lose it at the end of the day. Geo and Play Group, I thought they were gonna come away the winners, the crowd ones, but not only do they win it, but they force this eventually out of Skiller as they're gonna swap things up, and now this touch is going to be a little awkward for Pumpkings if they're going to try to do it.
Well, the Rally has actually come out super early, and you've got the Transcendence to utilize, so I do think you get back into this one. Perhaps build a Pulse Bomb, but Gangnam might get copied during this fight.
I mean, Gangnam is getting close. Burgerworth does trade themselves out, taking out Teddy, but Bipolar going down will probably spell the end for this, but it's still back and forth. Gangnam has to make a very rough choice right here and right now, and they're going to try to see, and they're going to hold on to it, which, at the end of the day, is going to be the right call.
Yeah, the cards kind of fell. Kota had to use Rally. Oh god, this is a horrible stagger. Kota tried to stay alive, but that is just not the decision. So the Rally came out early to try and keep Bipolar Pair alive and give them that extra push, but I think the issue came in where they weren't thinking about the Transcendence. That wasn't on their mind, and Teddy was able to get in there, keep the team alive, to get that retouch and get that thing. And now it's going to be harder to dive against the Ramatra, right? Because you're diving right into the Fist of Fury. Gangnam needs to get a good copy here, perhaps onto Skillers themselves, to try and help and aid that fight.
Wait, how do you...
Pulse Bomb?
Pulse Bomb on themselves, yeah, but I want to take a look at that one later. Unfortunately, Skiller getting anti, can't get any heals, and that should just spell the fight right then and there. Just an unfortunate error right there with the Pulse Bomb. Just going to clear out Teddy. We'll have a little under 3 minutes to push through point C. A decent amount of time to work with, and I mean, plus side, you don't even have to use the copy either, as Fizzy gonna go over to the Cassidy to try to give a little bit of extra coverage on Gangnam.
Yeah, you don't need to use the copy. We've got this Nano now. Playgroup can have time to set up how they would like to on that high ground. Either if it's going to be nanoing by Polar Bear to get a nice dive, cleave, there it is.
Yeah, going in deep here, gonna separate them. You saw an instant pull out there. Eventually trying to get rid of Teddy. Literally one. Just need to hit them, please, I beg of you. And they're going to eventually get back to them. Trying to get some heals. Eventually is going to get healed up, but still does buy a ton of space. Should be able to get the Megan. Should be able to hold on to the Primal Rage as well. As Play Group are just getting this push more or less for free. Already halfway there. As they're going to take a little break and try to sloop up this high ground for now. Uh-oh.
Yeah, looking for the Pulse Bomb. Bakota goes down. Suddenly it's a disaster. Gangnam is able to equalize, though. Get himself back on their footing.
Yeah. Not thinking back out anymore, though. Skiller managing to find two. Not finding any success with the Pulse Bomb, but Bipolar Bear decides to go in with the aggression. trying to find something. Unfortunately, I think the dominoes have already fallen into place, and Bipolar just going to focus on trying to live, and that's a lot of expended ults there for Playgroup, as Gangdom going to just swap over to the Genji now instead.
Yeah, I think Teddy did such a good job at staying alive against the nanoed Winston that you basically are 1v1ing their tank, which means they don't have a tank. Meanwhile, gave the rest of the team a lot of space to work with. You are coming up to another nano, like you mentioned, but the rally is going to be the main thing here. Looks like we're setting up for an aggressive rally, but not against the window. You want to back up from that.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to buy them a little bit of time, a little bit of space. It will end up working nicely, and honestly, whether they know it or not, it's fantastic, as Playgroup a long while away from a lot of these ultimates. In a minute, it's going to be a rough amount of time to try to get all of them online here, as Nano... I don't know why I thought Nano came online, but Bipolar Bear in a weird situation. Annihilation thrown onto their face as we see the Slip come online. As Koda's going to go with the aggression, has the Nano on them, and poor Skiller never stood a chance there. As trying to clean things up, eventually going to get rid of Senpai. Needs to try to find at least one more here to make it worthwhile, as Bipolar Bear will find Teddy. And this, realistically, should be the final fight, realistically.
Yeah, well, either way, it's 30 seconds, so it's either going to be a win or a bust for Playgroup. But that finding Fitzy's huge, because that means you don't have that ultimate. Skillershoe whiffs the pulse bomb. Suddenly, Playgroup are in great position.
Yeah, but still, Playgroup need to be able to clear these last couple members off, especially Teddy right now, who's still staying alive on the outskirts, and the Blade will eventually finish things out. 6.8 seconds will be claimed for Playgroup, so now Pumpkings have to respond and take it back all the way, and Playgroup, I mean, consistent overall. Sure, they get held up a few times, but they were pretty consistent with their dives, and they never really had fights that you could label as all-out failures outside of, like, the one Nano Blade. Like, there's a lot of consistency from this Playgroup team.
Yeah, there is for sure. There's some moments where there's maybe a mid-fight call that hasn't quite gone their way, but they have been able to push through this and basically deal with the fact the Pumpkings kind of just went back onto their laurels with that Remacha composition, off of that spam composition. And I think it worked very well for them, because I don't think the Sigma was getting as much as they were really wanting. And we saw them do a little bit better there on the Ramatra. Now on their attack, I'm very curious. I imagine we're going to see Skillershoe maybe do one grapple as a Widow, swap back onto the Tracer and create a flank. Or are they going to come out with spam on their own attack and... Nope, it looks like, yeah, they're doing exactly what I said. They're perhaps starting off the Widow, then you have that Tracer. Playgroup, however, is what I want to talk about. Instead of going for the spam defense, which is sort of like the... do I want to call it the default defense? Yeah, sure, that's a default defense of Junkertown is spam. The dive means that you can have a little bit more counter play, and with the Ana, this Ana can set up so far back that it's hard to dive onto them, and you're looking for Fitzy very easily to get caught out. Skillershoe's going to have to either get the snipes onto them, or when they go into Tracer, maybe go with Teddy on a side angle and force out those supports, because if they're far back enough, it's going to be really tough for Pumpkins to find them.
Yeah, I think Playgroup is learning a bit of a lesson here, though. Oh, maybe not too much of one, but I mean, Pumpkins barely managed to get one fight out before the point was completely gone, and Coda forced out way back, nearly taken out, so... I mean, Pumpkins doing a good job controlling this opening space, but I know Playgroup don't want to let it get through here for free, as right now we see the dive going over again and going to put them in an awkward situation. Coda gets separated due to the bubble, and now no help for gods. If they get dove, this is going to be a really rough situation. I mean, worst case scenario on losing them that quickly.
Really, you should have known that was going to happen. I mean, you see Skillers do that once, then you don't let it happen again, but you do, and you lose support off the back of it. Now, this fight is a little bit back and forth, but God's actually perhaps turning this one around enough.
I mean, yeah, like, Coda came back at the most optimal time possible, just as Gods was going to get taken out. And speaking of being taken out, Teddy going to take themselves off the edge there, and... I mean, yeah, a fantastic... I was scared for Playgroup. I thought they were going to lose that fight, give it up as early as Pumpkins did, but I don't know. I'm impressed on that hold, especially
Well,
from Gods to stay alive.
Now you really are looking for Gods and Coda to stay back. That's what they're going to get the most value of, especially since there's no Tracer instead of Pumpkins. You only have that Sojourn. And again, you see Skillers do that. That's, you know, when a dog's good at one trick, they do it again and again. Skillers really trying to make that one work, but they have learned.
Yeah, and things trading back out, getting him down, who has done a lot for this team so far, but Bergenworth not super far out from that overclock right now. His play group forced back into the corner right now. Right now, Skiller gonna eventually try to go for the support duel, but being forced into a corner instead right now. Just trying to put a lot of pressure onto Gods, who still has all the support of Coda as Bipolar. Gonna be given the nano. Gods, knowing their situation, was more or less screwed. Hoping to find something on the return. Unfortunately, not gonna find that return as they invest the pulse bomb as well. Pumpkins get to hold on to a majority of their ults. Meanwhile, Playgroup gonna use a majority of their ultimates and will eventually lose this fight. And now, unfortunately for them, Chio, Pumpkins gonna be in a great position to take ground, but actually, Bipolar Bear stays alive. Holy cow.
Yeah, just from that extra jump that they're able to get at the end of that. Primal and Skillers did a great job there at just controlling the field, not letting the team of Playgroup do exactly what they wanted. And that Primal Rage kind of nullified Bipolar Bear's Primal Rage by stopping them from touching the point, meaning they weren't, like, just extending that fight. A great little copy here.
Yeah, and trying to find something, unfortunately, will get taken out. Forced back is Fizzy. Just gonna have to try to play safe as they can. A lot of damage being done. A lot of people getting to half health, but that overhealth from Coda is gonna be able to keep a lot of people alive as Pumpkins forced into a little corner where Fizzy, unfortunately, is gonna get caught out by Gangnam. Now Playgroup gonna force a little bit more pressure, force the reset from Pumpkins as Teddy forced back to the spawn room. And Playgroup, this is where they get back to space, they get back the momentum on their side because they're coming up on some good ultimates, and Pumpkin have a big ability to kind of just go wild with some of these ultimates.
Yeah, Bergenworth is going to get a lot of spam in here, be able to very easily build up that railgun shot. And once that's ready, you know, Teddy, Senpai, they need to be very careful where they're putting their head, especially Fitzy, also with the massive hitbox.
Yeah, you can see they caught Coda and Gods. One ended up getting taken out. I mean, the other will go as well. Couple of quick deaths here. Bipolar gonna try to die on the cart. Bergenworth gonna slide around. Could have gotten staggered a little bit, doesn't. So Playgroup, I think, do have the ability for a retouch as Coda's gonna go over to the Lucio, and God's gonna stay on for the nano.
Yeah, they're going to get that Lucio, probably getting the touch here, especially with the Tracer, but both support ults ready from Pumpkins is probably going to be what wins them this next fight, especially with that Kitsune rush.
Yeah, and Teddy does have that pulse bomb. It comes on, we see that pulse bomb, not able to get the kill though as Coda eventually going to go down here, and now it's Pumpkins going to clean things up here. Just really having to invest both support ultimates. It's still a lot to pay, but you're more than happy to get it done and over with. You're going to have 3.5 minutes going into the third point. A little more than Playgroup originally had here. Pumpkins setting themselves up to put up a much better time as Playgroup invested a lot to lose that fight.
Yeah, there's a little bit more failings here on Playgroup's side, you know, not getting the value that they're looking for out of those nano monkeys, which is, you know, it's not as strong as a combo as it may have been in the past. Eddie didn't expect that at all. Ganged them with an absolute surprise shock out of nowhere.
I mean, yeah, gonna clear them out quickly, and now Skiller in a rough position, and Playgroup are entering a very unique position here where if they're able to clear out this fight early, something Pumpkins was not able to do on their defense, they could hold super close here and make it a really rough situation for them as... And Skiller just going to get forced out. Pumpkins just waiting for the correct dive. Eventually going to go in. Skiller going to be forced out over into their form. Yep, busy. Goodbye. See you later, buddy. And unfortunately, Skillishu might not be too far behind. Eventually gets stopped just before they get to the Mega. So now Playgroup will be able to stop them. Will be able to clean up a little bit. And now they have the ability to hold close as, oh, poor Senpai. Oh, no.
I mean, it's dangerous. You're going to do that to Kiriko, who can two-tap someone, but, okay, it works out for you. Yeah, Pumpkins are a little bit in a tough spot. They are going to get both of their DPS ults in this next fight. They can copy the monkey, get a double monkey dive, which can be very effective, but you're pushing into an overclock that's already ready on the defense, as well as Bipolar Bear being able to keep themselves alive in a deep dive, so... It's gonna be a tough one, or not.
Yeah, Coda already down here. The copy coming online as well from Fizzy. And the one thing to know here is the Pulse comes online, gets rid of Teddy, is that Pumpkins invest pretty much everything they had just to be able to take that fight right there. And it's not even really over yet right now, as Fizzy getting a lot of pressure, is taken out as well. Only 3 alive for Pumpkins, Bipolar Bear just prioritizing staying alive, goes back in for a dive, trying to deliver more pressure, is almost going to let themselves die to try to get the skill issue. And at the end of the day, I think that trade is worthwhile. The Skiller eventually going to have to be forced out, and they might be able to catch Senpai, but it looks like they'll be able to stay alive.
Yeah, you're under 90 seconds now, and because they've capped, you know you need to cap. You don't need it with time. You just need to be able to capture. You're going to come up to both support ultimates, starting with your Kitsune Rush, but it's the same story for Plate Group as well as the overclock being ready on both sides. A lot of ultimates are going to be used in this next fight.
Yeah, and there comes the Rally Nano out the gate here. I mean, it does eventually force away Skiller, but Teddy ends up being taken on once again. Bipolar Bear, again, likely going to be giving their lives, but is staying alive for the time being, thanks to a little bit of help from Gods and Coda, who are just staying alive fantastically so, have been a fantastic support duo throughout the series, especially here on Junkertown, and now it's coming down to this last final fight here. Potentially, Pumpkins cannot afford to have an error here.
Everything matters. You've lost your tank. That's a massive loss.
Yeah, this pulp pump needs to be used. Air ball as Skiller cleaning things up. Gengham just needs to try to stay alive. They just need to. There's no option here. Is someone eventually going to have to force the touch, going to die on it. Bipolar Bear going to make it back, just not going to have enough time to be able to stay alive. Bergen with the Gods trying to make it back, but it'll be a pure 1-to-1, Geo. That is insane.
Oh my god! They both had 6.8 seconds at the end! They have exactly the same time!
How does that happen? How?
They have exactly the same time!
How?
Oh my god! The stars aligned! It's beyond an eclipse! These teams are so goddamn equal, Huntertain, that they get to the millisecond! To the goddamn millisecond! This is an insane grand finals. These teams are fighting tooth and neck to the millisecond.
I mean, I can't explain that. That's insane. Like, I cannot tell you the last time that I saw 2 teams finish with the exact same time. Not in a grand finals like this, not in a match, not in a freaking scrim. That is incredible. And now Play Group coming out the gate here, gonna be on the Ramatra. They're going for the close hold. They're taking the risk and are gonna try to make sure Pumpkins can't even get to this first archway. And that's, I don't know if I like that risk a whole lot. That is very risky.
You know, to get reward, one must take risk, and they are making a massive gamble. They want to do a shock like they did on Hollywood. Can they do it again? Will this be enough to shock Pumpkins into being full held here?
Because they don't know. They're gonna come through, and they know to some extent right now it's gonna go deliver some pressure. Already been forced into block, so it's busy, gets a little low, still has the ability to recall and stay alive. And now Play Group are just in the middle of nowhere and are gonna have a really tough time getting any more value out of this now. They need to just find somebody who's put themselves in an awkward enough position, and it might just have to be Skiller if they get into a weird position. Teddy is low. Teddy running for their lives currently. Is Bipolar Bear trying to stay alive. Already had to use their Nemesis form to kind of stay alive, trying to bring some pressure at that point. Beginning to move slowly but surely as Bipolar Bear cannot afford to go down. Gods is just fighting for their life as well. It seems like Pumpkins are just slowly whittling them down as Gangnam will go down first. And that should cause the rest of the dominoes to fall as Play Group should just make the full swap right now, I imagine.
I think they won't. I think they're going to stay on to this. They're going to have a second fight for this point too. They won't be able to do it inside of this room with the Mega, which is sort of the goal of an overall kind of full hold, but the payload moved too much. Going to come back into it. They have beat, but they're pushing into an overclock, and that's a very, very, very tough thing for this composition to deal with on such an open map.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to get a total of 3 ultimates. Comes online, Coda's caught! They're not going to have the beat to work with anymore! Cleanse comes online, Bipolar Bear about to be annihilated, and now it's just the staggers on the point for Play Group, hoping to find something. Unfortunately, nothing available to them. Pumpkins will take the first point once again, and they don't even invest anything to really do it.
Out of all heroes you could have got with that pulse, that's exactly the one you needed. Pitch perfect pulse bomb. Now, Plate Group are stuck. They need to play with these heroes because they have all these ultimates. They want to be dumping them in, but they don't want to do it when Sound Barrier is available. Something needs to pull this Sound Barrier out of Teddy so that the rest of Plate Group can get value out of their ultimates and not die to the upcoming overclock.
Yeah, also want to make sure nobody gets off this point either, because that would be the worst case scenario. As the beat comes online, we see them coming through, just trying to find something with that Bayou sliding back onto the point. Just trying to do everything they can. Bipolar Bear does get rid of skill issue, though. It is a half and half affair right now. 4v4. Again, just keeping bodies on this card. I don't want to see another situation, but eventually Play Group have the advantage. Need to keep Bergenworth alive. Unfortunately, not able to really do so. Things back and forth. This Play Group trying their dangest to end the push here and now. And with one left, Fizzy finds two. Unfortunately, can't make it back to the point. Not quite the Charlie Niner, but just an unfortunate situation. But still, you get it past that first checkpoint. That in itself is a win right there.
Yeah, the Play Group are really, really happy that they won that fight because they used everything. They would need to swap their composition completely to try and justify losing that fight. But Bipolar Bear in the end, just enough to force Fizzy out, who did so much work there for Pumpkings with that pulse bomb onto Kota, and then just the pure natural play from them in that second point. I think Bipolar Pair really stood out for their team. But now, with only 1 minute, they've been able to push it into the second point. You're looking for a very good fight here. If your Play Group and Pumpkings, they're just kind of playing this dive. Now, they did play spam on defense at first, but now they're not playing with that. This dive, they want to make these fights excruciatingly long. Any fight that goes super long here is extremely detrimental to Play Group. That might be why Bergenwarf is teasing the Widow at first. You get one headshot, and suddenly it's a very winnable map.
Almost no matter how well this point is going to go, when they get to the final point, or the first point, strike point, they are going to be at overtime. No matter how good it goes, that final fight is going to be for all the marbles, as right now, oh no, that is a terrible case scenario, but Pumpkins, awkward situation now, being down your Winston almost instantly. Like you're going to be able to get a ton of room off of this. We'll be able to set up for the second side of point A, getting a ton of space for free, but still, it's still going to be a final fight territory, Gio. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, you want to follow up? Oh, no, that's a bit of a disaster right there. You've equalized it, and now your Winston's going to be back first. 20 seconds remaining, and Pumpkins are in the driver's seat. Fizzy, that was dangerous. That was so dangerous. And if we're looking at ultimates here, no one really has anything. This is all down to the natural fight play here between both teams.
I mean, yeah, you see Kota getting all the pressure, eventually gets taken away, someone's staying on the cart, God's eventually going to be taken down, the DPS of Play Group have to come in clutch, and Bergenward starting things going right now, Gangnam just running for their life, will eventually be taken out. It is a 2v4 right now, Bergenworth cannot get it online in time, eventually Bipolar going to try to live on this point as long as possible, the supports eventually coming back, but the damage could have already been done, that nice orb coming through to keep Kota alive a little longer, Bergenworth trying to make it back. They have the ability to live for just a bit longer, but they need to come back, and eventually Polar Bear will come back. Bergenworth needs to be clutch with a pulse here. We'll throw it down, does damage, but unfortunately not able to produce anything from it. Pumpkins bring themselves to match point. That's a heartbreaker for Play Group.
Yeah, that was such an incredible match, but it's Pumpkins that won it out. You lose Skillard there, but it's not about that mistake. It's about the bounce back. It's about how they reacted to that mistake, being able to pull back enough, force Bipolar Bear into a position where they had to kind of rest themselves to try and get follow-up. Then Bipolar Bear goes down. Perfect play. And now we're in a position where it is match point. Pumpkins are very much on the verge of cementing their legacy, of claiming that throne that they've been chasing, that they've had just within their grasp. And Plate Group, the question is, have they run out of steam? Or is it time for them to unlock again and to go to that next stage?
I think it's a very weird situation, and I think you can go either way. But the thing you have to look about it is from the most recent perspective, is that we just saw them try something with that close hold. They tried to make it happen. Yes, they buy a bit of time, but it does not work to standard. They get run down throughout that entire first point, and you think maybe if they would have just came out, running that Winston again, are we looking at a completely different result? Are we looking at a 3-2 for play group? So in my mind, it's racing of wondering, do we just try to match that again? Do we try to go back to what was working originally, but what stopped working? It is a complete judgment call, and it's a judgment call that you could either remember or want to forget for the rest of your life, and I wouldn't want to be in that position, but unfortunately, you don't have an option in this situation.
Yeah, you don't have an option, and last time these teams met, it was 3-1 for Pumpkings. That was the end of the map. It's a best of 5. 3 was the end. But for Playgroup now, and for both of these teams, this is a situation where Playgroup can show that, in the best of 5, they would definitely have lost by now, but now they get to show their longevity, their stamina as a team. I think as Playgroup, compared to Pumpkins in terms of just the whole season, they've already proven themselves beyond a shadow of a doubt, but it's not about that now, it's about winning. No. And Playgroup are up against it now. They really need to bounce back, and it's not like Junkertown was one-sided either. So there's definitely a lot of leeway, a lot of room to do so. I do now think it's Control we're going to, which, if I think even more so than Push, Control was the most dominant Pumpkins map, because even on Push we saw Playgroup kind of push back at the forward spawn, almost like make that end run. On Control, it was definitely not that. Is it because Pumpkins are a Control team? Was it because Playgroup weren't ready? There's lots of questions there, but we'll definitely find the answer soon.
And I'm curious what the selection is going to be, because I don't think you should take Nepal. I think we're at a weird position where you don't want to go back into the Ramatra mirror against Pumpkins. I think you've realized that that's not a reliable way to take a win. But then the question is, where do you go at this point? You've already gone to the map that you originally won and lost it. So now you have to make a judgment call here. And we're going to see what that judgment call is here momentarily. And that is a choice, Gio. We'll swap over here in a moment, because they are indeed going to go to Nepal. What is this choice, Gio? Are they going to try to match it, or do they have one final trick up their sleeve?
I'm putting my mind back to Hollywood and to Servasa and to that composition we saw before, and I might be seeing the magic here, because on Sanctum, that's a composition that could be quite deadly. A Sigma with a lot of spam with the Torbjorn Bastion could be a little bit of a risk to bring that one back out, because it did get solved on Servasa, and it isn't as strong on Control maps and Flashpoint maps. But on that particular map of Sanctum, where there's a lot of spaces, it's a lot of spam angles of corridors, could bring that out. I'm thinking, though, we've seen that Fizzy has been an incredible Echo. And Echo is a very keen pick on Nepal, particularly on 2 of the maps, on Village, on Shrine. This feels risky to me. There must be something in their back pocket, though.
I mean, it's a weird situation, because again, this is one of those judgment call situations where, yes, typically in a match, your coach ahead of time is going to say, hey, this is what we want to try to pick. If we end up losing this map, this is the map we don't want to play. Like, this is the one we know we are not that good at. But now you're in the situation where you fall back to Nepal, a map that is typically, historically throughout these playoffs, have been the first map selection for a lot of these teams. So now you've come back here. And now I do genuinely wonder, because I'm very split. And I feel a bit afraid that they're just going to go back to try to make the Ramatra work again, because they're fine at it. They're not bad at it. Pumpkins are just great at it. That's the difference. So I don't know what I want to see from them, but if it becomes a lot of the same, it's going to be very, very hard to get behind them in that situation. That's what I'm worried about.
Man, I'm not even in this. I'm not even in this match. I'm not a player, and I'm feeling the nerves, because we could be on the verge of either this is it. This is the last map. Pumpkins, they solidified, they lost once, and they felt that. They felt losing in a finals in the midseason. They don't want to feel that again. That's not a feeling you want. They've been in this position before. Pumpkins have that experience. Playgroup don't have that experience. Is that experience going to be in their favor? Yes. It's all about what Playgroup has here, and you are right. The Ramadra composition that they have is perfectly fine. They've done well on it, but they have had the best situations where they get creative, other than Junkertown.
No, 100% I agree, and I don't know. Like
it's all in the air.
It literally is all in the air. We can sit here and predict it all day, but we're not going to know until we get inside of it. We're making sure both teams are going to be ready to go into this one. Doesn't seem like there's going to be any swap. Skill issue is going to stay in, so yeah. I imagine they are just going to go back to the Ramattra, go back to the Echo and the Tracer, or maybe the Winston and the Tracer. I don't know. Again, I don't know. I can just imagine Ramattra is going to be a mainstay outside of like maybe Shrine, and that's a big maybe, honestly.
Yeah, I think overall this is probably just like favoring the Ramattra, and
yes,
overall that's been the more consistent composition that we've seen out of them. You know, other than like Dive also could come out on some of these maps, but again, that's really risky. If your opponent does come out on a brawl composition, suddenly the Dive isn't going to get that burst that you're looking for. But folks, match point. It is this entire tier of the EU Masters has all potentially come to this point. This could be the final map of this entire tier, and we see a team crowned. But Playgroup, they're going to seek to stop that, and right now they are leaning on what I was talking about. We're on Sanctum. I see the composition. I see the magic.
Oh,
will
boy.
it work? This is a Hail Mary play.
Yeah. Give it one more shot here. Gang, I'm going to TP them out. Probably going to swap back over to the Tracer. They will indeed. Fizzy will do the exact same. And this is going to be a weird situation. Playgroup going to have a lot more of a poke to work with here. Want to make sure you're not staying in the sight lines too long for Skill Issue, who historically does a lot more over on the Tracer, but is on the Sojourn to get things going here as that point eventually going to unlock. You see the little flank coming through there from Fizzy, and Pumpkins put themselves in an awkward situation where they want Playgroup to come to them. They want Playgroup to come and bring them pressure, and eventually they end up bringing it to them a little bit. Here's the point. Been unlocked. Nobody going for it quite yet. Trying to find something within Skill Issue. Yep, Fizzy is already down. Hoping to find something in there. A lot of people love one. Unfortunately, the strategy not going to work out very well. Playgroup not only going to start out with the point, looking like they should be able to win it, as well as trying to get a nice rock, but unfortunately, not really cleaning things up here quite yet. His killer is still alive, but unfortunately for them, will eventually be sent back.
Yeah, that could have went either way. They went in for the brawl against the Ramadra composition, but it was absolutely the right call to make. They got them up and close. They dealt a lot of damage. However, they themselves haven't built a whole lot of ultimate, where Kota's going to walk right into this one with, going to be able to defend this one with a window. That's going to be even tougher for Pumpkins to push into, who have matched the Ramadra to try and use those hands to survive the Bastion mode.
I mean, yeah, 100%. You see the Immortality Field already being used here. Window on top of that as well. Not the situation you want to be in, as both Immortality Fields are forced. A lot of people in Playgroup low will eventually get drained down. Point is eventually going to flip back over as Gangnam decided to invest once again into this. We'll be taking down. Point will go 53%. Over to Playgroup as Pumpkins take back over, and Playgroup used, again, a couple of really good ultimates to try to win that fight, and it would not be a grand finals map in the series if we did not have another pause. So
yeah, that is a very tough situation for Playgroup to invest ultimates like that, and Pumpkins, they didn't need to. I think two things happened there. One, Fizzy on the off angle dealing a lot of damage. Two, the Disruptor Orb coming out from skill issue was doing so much damage because they really wanted to stick to the window, but on the window was the Disruptor Orb, and they just got AoE'd, chunked down. The Immortality came out, was eviscerated like paper in the rain, and suddenly they just fell apart and they were washed away in the drain. Now, Pumpkins have defense with pretty much coming up to all other ultimates. Playgroup don't have as much. They are going to slowly come up to Transcendence, but you know, you're pushing in now with a Baptiste Zen. You don't have the Lucio to be able to get some good funny rotates. This is a very, very tough spot the Playgroup have put themselves into. Are they going to stick onto Zen and try and get this Transcendence? Perhaps, but it's going to be a risk to do so.
I mean, yeah, it's inherently going to be a risk, but I feel like at this juncture, it is a risk you kind of have to take, especially with Pumpkin bringing out their own Sigma. You're about even between Skiller and Gods when it comes to ult percentage, so you're gonna want that at this point with the the Sigma now being out. So I agree with keeping Gods on the Zenyatta. I want to see how well it works out as just delivering pressure to the side, making sure to gang as much as possible. And on the scene, never doubt, Gods apparently has found one, hoping to find a second right now. Walks away to come online, is going to clear out the rest of Pumpkins. Just a couple more on the scene as Teddy can be forced to get out. And we see the death of Skiller on the point. Eventually going to go back maybe about 35, 36% on the board here for Pumpkins' playgroup. Whew,
I mean,
God's on the scene.
I mean, God's plan worked out. They showed us that they're not like us. They are beyond us. They're a different specimen. Now they're on the defensive side of this spam. Suddenly, it's Pumpkins in the issue. Here comes the Mortar Strike, splitting up Skiller from their team.
I mean, yeah, maybe just trying to force out Immortality, which, by the way, does force out the Immortality field right now.
They're
bringing
so
a
low.
little pressure to Fizzy, really low, and forcing both to get out of there eventually. Spam getting kind of close as well, but gotta play a little safe as, oh, you don't have that to work with anymore. They have to try to escape. They have too much pressure. Eventually being taken out. Luckily, you still have Gods. You have the Transcendence to keep everybody alive, but you have to bring somebody back to that point. Burgerworth helping to get rid of them before he forced Stills. The beat going to come online. Point going to flip as Playgroup going to still be alive in this one, half and half, but now with Bipolar and Coda in a corner, unfortunately, going to be taken out eventually. And eventually, Playgroup will be forced back, but still, they have a couple of really key ultimates coming up online, especially that Flux in window.
Yeah, Skiller should go into Cassidy, means there's a little bit more punching power. Going to be harder to push just hard through the choke. But Playgroup, with 90%, they've went on to Reinhardt. This is a Hail Mary play, but with 90%, they can just kind of go onto point and force it. I'm not really sure what the game plan is here, because they had ultimates. I'm a little... I'm beyond myself. They were coming up to ultimates and they've just decided to leave them all.
I mean, yeah, and now they get the pulse out. Yes, you got the Immortality, but that's not enough right now. You had the ultimates. You had really good ultimates too. You're just trying to bring this pressure over to them, and this is a judgment call. But I'll be honest, it is a terrible judgment call to waste away those ultimates, and now you get wiped away, and you've lost this now. No, Gangnam might be able to make it back, but they're pushing up. You are not reliably touching this point again.
Too creative for their own good. They outfought themselves. That's an unforced error. They were 70% to Flux. Beat wasn't ready. They were coming up to their support ultimates as well. They decide to throw that aside for the chance that the Reinhardt works. I think they'll go back to the drawing board there and be kicking themselves a little bit when they see the percentage of the ultimates that they had. You know, being spry on your feet is definitely a good thing, but you just talked yourself out of potentially winning that point. Now, it's match point, map point. This is a even worse position to be in. But to be fair, you're on Village now. So this TP ring comp is going to work a little better, but you're still going to get heavily spammed out by the Ramatra and Cassidy.
Yep, 100% here. It's a risk you're taking running a Rhine into a Ramatra, but hey, it's the risk you're willing to take. And by the looks of things, Playgroup gonna be about even time. We'll be slightly ahead, so we'll be able to actually get the position on the point. Both Maze on the scene, gonna immediately force out the shield from Skiller. So again, a good advantage as the wall comes through. Not gonna be quite the advantage you would hope for, is right now Gangnam still holding on to their own. Eventually, his point is going to open up. Force a weird situation. Skill and Skiller both super low. One of them needs to go down, though. Really need to get one of them selected. We'll eventually get Skiller, paying a bit of a price with your HP to do so, though, as eventually they will and should take this first fight. So, Play Group going to unlock and start with the point. Is he eventually going to go down as well? I mean, it's a risk. It's working out so far, but, I'm still skeptical.
This is as classic village as it gets here from Play Group. That has worked out for them. They got to the point first because they stuck with the Symmetra, which gives them that staying power. And I like the decision making, controlling the high ground first. You can easily drop, you drain the time. They're playing this one well. They just have to really be careful that they're not caught out in the rotation, especially Gods.
Yeah, 100% here as Gods is coming up very quickly to this window. Is going to have it for this fight. And they're waiting right now for Skiller to get some attention. Going to bring it down, bring a lot of pressure into the back line. Going to force a lot of people to drop back. God's going to be using that barrier. And God's going to use the window as well. Going to double down here. Going to keep Bipolar Bear alive. Pulse Bomb online. Isn't going to get rid of anybody here. The pressure's still being delivered. Gangnam needs to try to stay alive. Totem might have to use the B here if they can afford to be able to do so. And they do use it. They're going to be able to keep them barely alive. And Bipolar Bear has a shatter, but they're frozen. The point going to flip over. And Pumpkings going to take over the point. And will eventually force some very good ultimates out of Play Group. Unfortunately, using 3 of their very good ones to do it.
Yeah, that was looking like Play Group just about held it in. Fizzy with some great wall, but Kota lands the beat. Now, Teddy really wants to be building their own sound barrier up as quick as they can, because Play Group's going to TP right onto point, and they have Blizzard to keep it. So this is going to be tough.
Yeah, 100% though. Going to force this right away. Going to force a really weird position here. And eventually the point is going to flip basically for free here. Kota does go down. Damage though has been done. They have 2 different freezes. They need to get Fizzy or Senpai. Will end up getting both of them here, wiping them away. Now coming down to final fight. And they're still going to have that wall and the shatter. And Pumpkings just have to try to work with a single beat.
They are doing very well here with this composition. That was a great decision making. They're deciding now to actually stick to the point. Another pause. Come on, this isn't good for my health. Oh my lord. There's a disconnect for Pumpkings. That is very, very unfortunate. I do believe our code protects ult percentage. I feel like I don't actually. I'm not gonna. No, I feel like it's true, but I'm not sure. Either way, very tough point. There's 25% left on this point until Play Group equalize this map. So they're in a good place. They've got the Symmetra wall, which is very strong. You can use that to really speed up the map. The Shatter though is basically free. If you take out the Mei wall and the Ramatra shield, Shatter's free. You can get a charge. You really want to shatter the Lucio because the Lucio has beat Teddy's ready with the sound barrier. There's a very clear way the Play Group could win this, but it does require landing the shatter or taking out Teddy before beat happens.
I mean, yeah, 100%. And even if that beat does come out, you are still able to shatter a retaliation. You might not kill anything instantly, but you saw all the momentum right there. If you work together, you should be able to kill at least 1, maybe 2 people inside of it. So it's really Pumpkins that have to be very careful with how they decide to play this. In a situation, maybe you try to get one of these forced out, peel out, and eventually come back in to kind of trade. But it's going to be rough because it comes down to how aggressive Play Group wants to be, which I imagine they just want to stay bunkered on the point like they were before, force Pumpkins to use resources to get onto the point. But again, it can go either way because we saw them go above and kind of split up last time, and that worked fantastic for them.
Yeah.
But the question is, can they get away with it twice? That's the question.
I think the decision here is like you take high ground, but there's such little percentage left that Pumpkins don't really have the time to fight for the high ground. So they're probably going to go to point, so maybe it is just best to stay point, utilize the Mei wall when they get into point, and you're in a tough position. We do have Fizzy back, and the teams are readying up. We will get to the conclusion of this sub-map of what potentially could be the final map. Play Group on the verge of equalizing here, folks. And if they're able to do that and get the next sub-map, we go to the 7th map of this amazing Grand Finals, 80% left. Oh boy.
Yeah, this is going to be a rough one. This is going to mean the absolute world here for Pumpkins and Playgroup. Still have to play it a little bit safe right now, forcing a little bit of separation. Already going to force out that shield as well. Wants to try to break it down and is going for a shatter, but it's going to bring in a lot of pressure. Holding on to the shatter still, though. And we see it come through, going to catch onto one. Beat going to come
Big
online,
charge.
catching Killer. Big charge. That wall needs to come online, though. Hasn't come out quite yet as things are half and half. Burgerworth has held on to it. It's a really weird wall, but unfortunately, skill issue going to be taken out. And right now, Bipolar is super low, but in the end, not quite going to matter. Damage has already been done. It is just Fizzy trying to touch back and forth as Skiller trying to make it back. Fizzy doing a fantastic job on the stall. Unfortunately, Skiller will not make it back. We will go to the third and final round here. Playgroup fighting for the lives, but is this? I don't think the same composition's going to work over here on Shrine. I don't think so, anyway.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot tougher with the mere fact that there's so many more angles on the point. Playing Reinhardt is basically hard mode, right? That's new game plus for Overwatch. You don't want to be doing that at this level. Playgroup again. It would have worked on the first point if they didn't swap off of it. They didn't have enough faith, but now they've got a lot of faith. They're not TPing out though, so Pumpkins will get the point first, and that'll be a little bit harder to push in. But the fact that they're keeping the Lucio, I like this better because they can rotate a lot easier with it and get into those good, juicy angles for their DPS.
Yeah, you see already on the side. That's a nicely placed turret. Going to get deleted very quickly though, as already Playgroup tasting a ton of pressure here and Skill just waiting for waiting for their moment to go through. As Senpai already down major amount of healing, as you see kind of just Burgerwood just really kind of just moving around in a circle, trying to avoid hits as much as they can. Point unlocked, but right now Playgroup just need to finish off these last couple of members, unlocking the point. A good stall coming through from Teddy though to force a lot of stall. Eventually we'll have to give it up though as Playgroup finding a nice early pick on the Senpai to take that first fight.
And this is not an easy point to push into this particular composition. So much spam coming out from the core. You need to be rotating in situations where you're not going to be taking too much spam. They're going around the right side now, trying to get this positional advantage. The fact that they have Fizzy on Venture right now feels like such a risky choice.
Yes. I mean, it is a risky choice inherently, but again, you've seen Blaker willing to take these kind of risks throughout the entire series. I think Pumpkins in a situation realized we need to do it ourselves, and there's that ended up paying off right there. Able to get rid of Burgerworth, going to separate a lot of this team. Gangnam does get busy, but I think Playgroup, the damage has been done to them already. It's just the members of Playgroup trying to build up to a little bit more charge here, but Gangnam now has found two. Koda's coming up on the beat, and they might pull it right here. It's half and half right now. Still holding on to it. Gods is down. Koda gonna use the beat now with just him and Gangnam on the seam. Rocked away. Gonna eventually throw them away. Trying to burn away Skiller, who's just burning away. That beat's coming close. They end up using it. It might be too late though, and it's still back and forth. Burgerworth on the scene. Playgroup though, getting their members back. Just trying to drain people away. Getting this one. It is so back and forth. Bipolar needs to stay alive though. Gods still has the MH as well, and Pumpkins have to reset.
Oh my god, that was such a strong hit, but they missed. The beat came in late. Now Playgroup are in such a strong position with Mortar Strike ready. If the Mortar Strike gets anyone here, they're in a horrible position. Very early window actually, gets pretty much no value.
Yeah, Skill Shield does get rid of Koda. That is massive out the gate here. Gods gonna get a nice trade though right now as Skiller looking to use this Flux here momentarily around the corner. He's gonna come online, hoping to find a couple of bodies. Burgerworth will get found, will get taken out. Playgroup will eventually, finally get cleaned up off with this point. Unfortunately, they use a lot to try to hold on to it, so going to have nothing going into this next fight. Potentially the next fight as well, as Pumpkins hold strong at the very end.
Yeah, and the fact that they've got window is
Ryan?
a very good choice. Okay,
Ryan?
now I like it. I like it now because they didn't have any ultimates. This is when you use it. When you don't have ultimates, there's 99%. Again, a risk. It didn't hit last time. Now they're going for the head. They're searching for it, but they're pushing into a window, so this first fight might be quite rough for them.
Yeah, and they're gonna pull back from it. Just get it out. But God's already dead. You just take this. You take this quick fight. This fight's already basically over. You're gonna see that pin come through here. Going to basically get nothing on the swing and will eventually get taken away. Again, just need to take the quick deaths, gang them as well as Bergenworth. You need to hit them shots, buddy. You got to get rid of them, Fizzy. Ends up getting 3 on that. Like,
So-
you're not getting a lot either, honestly.
So yeah, Playgroup then build a lot of ultimate, but ultimately you're pushing into a hard spam comp with they had amplification matrix. That was going to happen either way unless you were able to somehow double speed as Lucio. Now you're in a better position. You can get onto point. It's a dead eye now that you need to be very well aware of and not push too hard into and get caught out.
I mean, yeah, you want to see if you want to try to force this over right now. Wall coming online, going to force a recall. So you see right now, Fizzy has been a bit of a weird situation right now. Still has his pulse ready to go. The point flips, and that's extremely important that it flips over, because now Playgroup can spend all this time building up his ultimates, even if they lose the fight, and they're hoping to find something. Getting God super low will eventually take care of them, and Playgroup are going to double invest here, and they're going to even things out right now. Bergenworth getting up so close. Same thing with that Shatter. They managed to find another within skill. They just need to get rid of them. It is Fizzy and Teddy alone on the point. They need to survive long enough. Fizzy does manage to find Coda, staying alive, has his Earth Shadow ready to go. It's just holding on to for good measure. An amazing stall from these two, just trying to drain them away. They are both so low, they need to get rid of them as the rest of the members are coming back. Big Shatter going to get rid of 2, clearing them away from the point. Map 7 is on the way!
Map 7! Map 7! Map 7! That's all that I need to say. Playgroup have taken the risk again to go for the Rhine. Didn't work last time, but they know themselves enough that they bring it out there when they didn't have the ult. Works out perfectly. That's twice now where they've committed to a fight where it was very risky to do so, and they did it. They won it. We are free for free in the grand finals of this matchup. Playgroup, they have taken the shot at the top team who have only lost once before this. They are now match point both ways in the grand finals. This is an ultimate end to this bracket. EU Masters is going absolutely insane in its final inning. This is just incredible, Hunter.
So many risks being taken by this Playgroup team. They have tried time after time, whether it failed, whether it succeeded. They keep throwing things at the wall, and when it needed to work the most, it comes through. They were that fight away from losing that series, and now they get to take us to one final map. But of course, it has been a long series already, not just for us, for the players. We're going to give this thing one last break, so stay tuned. It's going to be Map 7, will be the final map, and will decide the winner of the EU's Master Tier, so don't go anywhere.
You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a
We have had one hell of a day in front of us, Gio. We are in map 7 potentially, and hopefully the final map of this series to crown our EU Masters tier champions. Pumpking and Playgroup have gone absolutely back and forth, and just when we thought that Pumpkings were going to solidify their spot on the throne, Playgroup brings it back, and now here we are. And I said it before during break, I genuinely did not think we would get ourselves to a map 7.
This is the first finals out of Season 13. This is the start. And boy, oh boy, is it a banger. This is map 7. And these players have exerted so much of themselves, so much energy. They have given themselves. There is sweat, tears, blood. This is a battle for bragging rights, for championship, to become immortal and become a part of the CGL legacy here. This is for everything, and I'll put it out there now. If there's a map 8, which I don't think there will be, I hope for the health of the players that there isn't, I'll do a 24-hour stream or something. I don't know. I feel like I would need to give back to the world. These teams have deserved it. Whichever one wins, absolutely deserved. My God, the way that we've opened this finals weekend and week, this has blown my mind.
It has absolutely blown my mind. This was a lot of the predictions that I did. A lot of them were in this 4-0-4-1 format, and this was no exception to the rule. I thought Pumpkins were the better team going into things, and you could still make that argument in terms of overall what the team was able to accomplish just from the popular compositions, we'll say, the meta. They do tend to swing more their way, but it's Playgroup's ability to innovate, to pull out these compositions where when their back was against the wall, they were brave, they pulled it out, they realized they're back against the wall, let's go for it. And I love teams like that. Love teams like that. So
yeah,
I'm excited what they're going to do, because Gio, it's all going to come down to this. It should come all down to this, and I can't believe it, Gio. I still can't believe it.
It's Midtown, and Playgroup have already just been in a map where they've been against it and everything. Like, they took those risks knowing that if it didn't work, that they had lost the grand finals. So I think Playgroup, they're in the mode. They're in that mode that what they do means everything. Pumpkings are now going to need to get into that position. And Pumpkings, they've been close before. They've been the bridesmaid before. Despite their record, they really won this finals. Playgroup, on the other hand, they've been overlooked. People haven't seen them as a real contender. And it's not fair, because they have already proven that they are an absolute, kings. My God, this is going to be some end. And skill issue now on the venture. We haven't seen this. I think we've seen Fizzy on it. We've seen Emperor on it. We haven't seen skill issue on them. I
think you have to give it a real good look if you lose this first or second fight on this defense. But either way, first fight, potentially our final map here in the grand finals, going away. Starting out for the time being, Gangnam getting a little bit of space open up here with this Torbjorn, able to get the rest of their team through. Bergenworth already going to use their turret form to be able to get a little bit more space, force their way into this small little room. Gotta wait for it to come back online before they can really, truly push out there. A nice force away right there as Bipolar gets thrown into a corner, barely gets put into that immo as you see Skill Issue having to get out of there, getting forced into a corner, and Playgroup should eventually be burnt away. I don't think the damage is going to be enough, and indeed they will be burnt away eventually. First fight not going too well. Skill Issue does go down, but Skill Issue will be able to get back in time for the next fight. So Pumpkins, great start. You get a lot of charge in the process.
I believe that was Teddy getting a pretty good boop into the corner there, which allowed the follow-up. Great decision-making there from the Lucio. Really keeping themselves alive. Senpai already quickly building towards Coalescence, which they can use. I mean, pretty much everyone on Pumpkins were just having a feast day, spamming into that little cubby and just getting so much from it. Playgroup need to be careful here, because they will be against a lot of ultimates if this fight goes long.
I mean, yeah, 100%. But when you have to take into account Gods, getting very close to their Ant Matrix as well. Just want to make sure you don't lose Bipolar Bear, who's getting a lot of pressure here from Fizzy. Ends up almost jumping into the face. Gods was super close to taking an L there. Immortality Killer going to get forced out as well. And here comes the pressure right now. Fizzy needs to find something. Eventually, Bergen going to be found, but get the 44. Koda's got to make a choice here. Unfortunately, not going to be able to really make that choice here. I think still a little bit even, as right now Senpai going to be forced back a little bit. So Play Group does have a point to be able to stabilize, but unfortunately, they're going to lose Gods.
Yeah, losing your BAP there, that's rough. They're definitely going to come in now. They can smell the blood in the water. Coalesce is coming in. Well, actually fluxing this one.
Yeah, if the beat comes online, they're going to invest everything to stay alive in this fight. And I will say, for Play Group, that is a good investment right there. You forced so much. You scared the heck out of Pumpkins. You lose the fight, you don't get a tick. But you do have to note that you forced everything out of them.
Yeah, Pumpkins have emptied absolutely everything they had there. And with 90 seconds to go, Play Group are in a pretty good spot. If Bergenworth can find a good mortar strike, then that's perfect. But you know, it's this window that's going to be really scary.
Yes.
That's going to be able to deal so much damage if set up right. Pumpkins are either going to have to back up, which they can. There's no ticks on the board, or push through it, which would be riskier. Mortar Strike comes out.
Yep, and they're going to be a little aggressive with this, try to force something out of it. Skill issue gets brought down below. Going to be in a nice situation. Again, forcing more out of Teddy. The Play Group still have another ball to be able to use. That window, not going to get the opportunity, though, but still a little bit of a back and forth here. Bipolar needs to stay alive, doing a good job of being able to do so, forcing Fizzy away with that slide. A nice shot to get rid of the turret, but unfortunately need to get rid of more than that. Eventually will get away. Play Group should be able to put 3 bodies on. Take this point, since you're not going to get your Lucio really back in time, but you still have to be careful here.
Yeah, very clutch decision making from Bergenworth to get into position that they got into and to deal that damage. It worked out long term. Better for them, because now they still have the amplification matrix. They're coming up to their flux and to their molten core. They're in a pretty good position. However, controlling this high ground is going to be important for them, because they don't have a whole lot to be able to push in and take a position away. They're all about holding out here.
I mean, yeah, you might just have to take the time to kind of gather that flux together as well, just to kind of give yourself a tool to actually force them out of there. But for the time being, it's Skiller's kind of playing on this corner, and it's going to go in with that Nemesis form. Window going to come out, should be able to keep Bipolar Bear up. And that seems to be what it's majorly going to be used for, as Bipolar Bear is going to have this ready to go. Flux up in the air, eventually going to throw Skiller up in the air, going to absolutely delete them away, as Pumpkin are on the high ground still. They're eventually going to have to be forced away, as Play Group will be able to not only take over the high ground, but should be able to get this cart at least most of the way through the underpass.
Yeah, that was a brilliant flux. It got exactly what you needed out of it. You have invested your window also, but both the sound bars coming up. It's the coalescence though from Senpai Odin, which is going to allow Pumpkins to have a little bit more confidence pushing forward here.
Yep, Gods, though, already going to go down. A desperate situation, but Skiller, again, literally just gets an ult thrown in their face, because why not? We don't really like this guy, which, fair enough. It buys you a little more space, and that's the important part of it right now, is a couple of good shots on the Fizzy. We'll take them out. No more flux available. Back to a 3v3, and Coda getting this beat would mean the absolute world right here to Play Group. Getting it 98, 99, eventually forcing the Venture out to the side, is going to have the beat. Needs to probably invest in here to make sure everyone stays alive, and they go full force with it. Need to get rid of Skiller right now, who's at half right now. They have a lot to invest here. And here comes... Yep, the double investment here right now. Needs to find somebody right now, eventually looking like they are going to be able to clean this up. Bergenworth going to be the last person standing for this team, realistically. Trying to force some kind of C9, unfortunately, not really going to be able to. And thankfully, Gods does not get staggered. Thankfully.
Right, so the flux is definitely the win condition here. The mortar strike to maybe try and force something out, like... Well, you can't really force much out, really. Maybe the Sojourn slide, but the flux is all what you want. Teddy has sound barrier. You need to know that's a thing. You want to try and get this sound barrier out of Teddy, either by using the flux or before the flux comes in. This is going to be the last fight. This is it.
Yeah. And this is risky going through here, and they're going to hold back as well. Going to wait for an opportunity ends up going directly in the face of Skiller right now. Still has that Nemesis, and there's a room full of people in front of them as the beat's going to come online. Bipolar Bear going to go with it, eventually going to bring them up in the air. Skiller just gets deleted instantly. Bipolar Bear needs to focus on staying alive, has the heals to be able to do so as the pressure being brought over to the point. Still a 5v4 situation, but you need to find another target to go on, and Skillishu will be the recipient of such a thing. 2 meters, 1 meters eventually will be capped just before the overtime takes over. Minute and a half. Play Group managed to pull it off the end and gang him with a tasty 3K there at the end to finish it off.
I saw the vision, and you did too for Skiller, but you're pushing in and you didn't track the turret mode effectively. You go in, doesn't matter how much more health you give yourself, it's a goddamn bastion. And that just chunked their health down. Skiller realizes it, goes onto the Sigma now, can utilize that those hands to really suck up all that damage and basically be more survivable against that particular hero. Coalescence ready. Second to last fight here.
Yep, down to a final minute as well. Gangnam just have their ult ready to go here. Only real ult available at this time as Skillishu ends up going down, and there goes that turret form. Going to force Fizzy out of their position. Gonna force Skiller out as well. Senpai still does have this Coalescence. They want to pop it, but it looks like they're going to hold on to it. As right now, just forcing. Yeah, and Skiller goes up going down as well. And now Fizzy's forced out. The Teddy's down too. They're just going to roll this through. It wasn't possible before, but they might be able to just cap this with time, maybe, Gio.
If they get time, this is incredible. Now, the Coalescence is there. They'll be able to burst onto point with it, but the Molten Core's ready to go. Flux might get built in this fight, however.
Yep, point 6 on the board. Yep, they're still trading out. Here comes Bringer with around the corner. Going to send it through. Needs to get rid of Skiller, who's still getting a ton of support. Falls into the situation. It's just trying to force him away. It's Fizzy on the point.
4,
they just need to get rid of the Lucio, and they will not finish with time. It's down to it. They will force the overtime at the very least. And while they do finish the map, Gio, we might look back on it, and that touch might be the game-saving play for all we know.
Yeah, and hybrid, not having time means if your opponent finishes with above a minute, you don't get that second chance. That touch could be crucial. And of course, on the other end of things, on the flip side, getting that last fight, Skiller got pushed into such a bad position. The follow-up was there. Playgroup saw it. They were hungry. They knew that Skiller could get taken out, and then stagger after stagger after stagger. Suddenly, Playgroup has actually finished the map. When on every point there in their attack, they were very close to just not getting that point. From first to second to third. So Playgroup dangling on the edge of the void, but in the end they grew wings and flew over it. Pumpkings, they need to finish this map now. Are they going to stick with this venture? Because a lot of the time, I feel like we didn't see Venture have as much output as someone like a Tracer might have had in a similar situation.
Yeah, I think it's a 50-50 situation. I think it would have worked better on the Bastion, and I do think it was working pretty well on the Bastion. But now I want to see its value against a Sojourn, or at the very least seeing if that switches up, because interestingly enough, with this Ramatra now, they also have a Mei. And Pumpkins probably don't quite see this Mei coming, at least not initially, because they're going to try to run through here, and they're just going to get caught off in between the moment they try to open this up. And there goes that separation. Some are going to slip through, some are not. A lot of pressure going to be brought over to Bipolar, who's separated from the team. Immortality already forced, already deleted too, and Bipolar fighting for their lives. Out the gate here is Pumpkins, able to get a ton of stabilization early on here. Yeah, massive wall indeed, and just a lot of people low as Gankum. It's a fantastic wall to Skiller. Such an unfortunate situation. Gankum literally getting booted away as well. Right now, just need to stay alive as Bipolar Bear. This fight's not nearly over yet, but we are at least going to see the rest of Pumpkins hide away, but they find both supports. How?
I don't know what's going wrong here, but Skelishu and Senpai just working it out. Skelishu needs to be careful though. They've lost Hedy. They need to start thinking that this fight is over, but they're really investing it.
I mean, yeah, and they're going to get pushed back, but Bipolar just needs to stay alive. That's the most important thing. And Gangnam is basically, Gangnam is basically going to give their life to be able to stay alive here. Or make sure that Bipolar stays alive, but I think, the damage has already been done. They're going to have to eventually give up this point. You know, at the very least, You do get a lot of ult charge out of that situation. Unfortunately, I know you didn't want to give it up that early after being held on it for quite some time before.
It's just unfortunate for Gainum that where they had to ice block was on the point there, and that was just never going to keep them. There was no way they could stay alive. They pushed through the left side against Adventure, who's got AoE burst damage, and it just doesn't work out for them. But now they're on the second point where things are a little bit more open. If they can keep hold of this high ground, in fact, they've actually pushed all the way in here instead of taking the high ground. If they can keep this in from the Venture, then they can win out against it.
Yeah, this is gonna be killer right here. Skill issue again has found 2. Fizzy going to get chased away. Should eventually get taken out, but I think the damage again already been done. Bipolar not gonna double down with the investment. We do have some good stall from Coda in the backline though, so it's gonna give Playgroup a little more time to set up. So, I mean, it's still Pumpkins are just rolling through right now.
I just want to say I love it when a player proves me wrong, because after I said skill issue was maybe struggling to get value of the Venture, so far she's done absolutely amazingly and has just taken that fight apart, getting so much spam damage in because Playgroup are playing Brawl and they have to be clumped together.
Yep, delivering a lot of pressure as well. A lot of damage coming through from Burgerworth. Unfortunately, going into a shield a lot of the time. Forced up into the air. Almost hits the 3-4. The freeze comes online. Going to catch onto 2. Those 2 eventually looking like they're going to get deleted. Busy getting a lot of help from their team. As that, you gotta say, that cart has been moving the entire time. So it does move through most of that underpass. So again, same thing as Playgroup on their previous attack. It's a success. You still take a ton of cart.
The biggest issue for Playgroup there was how much they had to invest, and now they're up against a fight where Tectonic Shock's ready and the Sound Barrier being the bigger one. And if Pumpkins have been tracking this right, they know Playgroup has absolutely nothing apart from this window that if the fight goes long, gods can maybe build this window. However, you want to be going fast here if you Pumpkins, get this Tectonic Shock and this aggressive beat.
Going to come online, gonna force a little separation. Really nice tech right there for Skill Issue to kind of make their way around, forcing Playgroup into a really uncomfortable situation. Knew exactly where Coda was going to be at, gonna bring the pressure, dying on the point, and now Playgroup needs to reset very quickly here. Needs to be able to stay alive right now. You've seen Gangnam kind of dying on the point a little bit. Need to focus on keeping Bipolar and Bergenworth alive, and it looks like not only is one of them going to die, but both of them are going to die. So now, I don't think there's a real retouch here now, Gio. Bipolar is going to eventually go down here.
Yeah, unless you get like a good angle on the window. Now, the point hasn't been moving enough. I think there will be a touch, but this window needs to come out if you're going to retouch. In fact, they haven't. No, they didn't.
There in time.
No, that I have to say that maybe that's probably a bit of a Charlie 9, or Lucy was alive for a lot of that. And if they win this fight, it's yeah,
and they do win the fight, but the respawns are so close to where it doesn't really matter at all, honestly.
Yeah, in my books, I would call that a C9. I think that's very touchable. They took some longer paths there, a little bit of miscommunication. They've got 3 minutes to hold in against. They can't let Pumpkins finish with above a minute. They need to drain this time bank so much, which means their economy needs to be tip-top. They can't over-invest these ultimates in this next fight.
Yeah, and they're going to have that opening space a little bit already. Here comes that pressure, though. That freeze online, going to catch onto a couple. Skill issue ends up being caught around the corner, and they realize it. Eventually going to get taken out, not going to be able to survive, so Playgroup be able to take this first fight to get things going here. A little less than 3 minutes on the clock. Playgroup setting themselves up in a better position. Again, biggest priority, make sure Pumpkins do not finish with over a minute.
Yeah.
So far, on the right track to accomplishing that, and they still have a lot to work with.
They are, yeah, but right now you need to be very well aware that this Heinrich is going to be coming in. Fitzy's going to create so much space with a big corridor here. You have to have your exit plan ready. You want to be getting the soundbar. You're going to be ready from Coda. Utilize it against skill issues, Tectonic Shock.
Ooh, I love the aggression here from Bipolar. And we'll get the man, Fizzy out. The beat going to come online as well. Skill issue. Gonna have the Tectonic. Not going to get the chance to use the beat coming online as well. Playgroup, no ults remaining now. But it is important because they do manage to clean it up once again. Teddy also going to take a little bit of a, I imagine, a late death. Oh, they're gonna get out. They're going to get out, but you know who might not get out? Skiller, who again is also going to force their way out. They will be able to re-engage pretty quickly here.
Yeah, and also the fact that I think Coda maybe should have held on to that sound barrier. Yeah, you got nervous about Gangnam going down, but you shouldn't really. Now you have a disadvantage majorly. You want to take this fight, and you really hope they do overall.
Tectonic. Tectonic and the Jedi as well will get onto Bergenworth, and now you just have to take the reset here. See if you can force one more, but you take the reset, you don't use anything.
Yeah, die fast.
And eventually, yeah, will die fast. And now this next fight's going to be the most important fight of the series.
Yeah, this is the most important fight, folks. You want to see, if you're a Playgroup fan, that go below a minute. And it's very possible because you've got both Window to set up in that choke and the Blizzard. However, the Coalescence from Senpai and the Annihilation means a very aggressive fight from Pumpkings.
Yep, that point moving along here. Gotta make sure you don't forget about a Coalescence online. The freeze going to come online. Want to see if they can catch Fizzy inside of it. Doesn't matter. We'll eventually get deleted. A Skiller going to go in deep with this. We'll find one. Coalescence going to help find a second. Guys, just die with that ult-on. But we have gotten below a minute now. So while Pumpkings are going to cap this point, they don't quite do it with enough time. Both teams will get another chance to attack. But Playgroup seconds away from devastation.
From minutes to seconds to milliseconds, every little ounce of time has mattered in this grand finals, and 4 seconds, folks, has saved Playgroup. They have given themselves a chance, but it's just a chance because there is double the time for Pumpkings, and they already had an easier time attacking that first point than Playgroup did. Playgroup, I feel like they need to do their patented creativity if they want to try and hold on to it. On their attack, looks like they're going to keep what they were playing. However, Pumpkings know, right? This isn't a shot comp anymore. They know this comp's happening. They know what your rotation was onto Mega, that it didn't work. So you don't want to recreate that. You want to have a rotation here that maximizes time. You don't, if you're going to go for a long rotation, no one can die. If you're going to go for a short rotation, you really want to take that fight and maybe give yourself that second chance. There's a lot on the line. You have maybe 2 free fights at most. Playgroup need to make the most of it.
Yep, only a minute to be able to do it, so really only going to be, I mean, one super clean fight, realistically, unless it ends very quickly. So Playgroup have to make the most of this situation at hand. But Pumpkins, we've seen them being able to take advantage of before, especially that Cassidy and that Venture, so I want to see it again from Playgroup as they are kind of a little back and forth, not really choosing a path quite yet, as Bergenworth is just taking a ton of pressure, needs a little bit of support right now. Eventually going to be forced into the Immortality, needs support, is getting super low, gets it finally, but unfortunately perhaps not on time as things still back and forth. Need to take the quick reset or find another pick. They will, and Coda's the only sense of healing right now.
Wait a minute!
Goes down, and now they just need to reset in here. Take the reset, go together. This is still winnable, Gio.
Absolutely, yeah, getting those picks has made a very awkward fight, and that's good for you. With 12 seconds remaining, this will be an overtime fight. You're not really coming up to much. You can maybe get a Molten Core, but now if you're in the defensive position, it's so much spam damage against the attacking team of Pumpkins defending now.
Tick on luck. Yep, biggest thing, Tick on the board now. A lot of people getting close to their ultimates here and there. Needs to find an opening pick, though, as Teddy is half right now. Bergenworth, someone that needs to come in for this touch right now. Eventually will. Getting super close to Skangam, who's going to go in with the aggression here. Needs to find something, needs to find Fizzy.
Molten Core.
Need to. 99 to this ultimate. He's going to get it online. Going to throw it in, going to throw it down into their face. The beat going to come online for Coda. It comes alive for them, though. And Playgroup is getting wiped away 1 by 1. Playgroup will only manage to solidify 48%, and this next round will be the final one.
And there we have it, folks. That's decided. There's no 8th map. That's not a drawable position, but it's a winnable position for both teams. There's 2 minutes now to only get about half a capture for Pumpkins, whereas Playgroup, they got themselves that tick off the back of some heroic plays, very clutch plays in the midst of that final fight, and it means they have chance here. But what is Playgroup going to do? Because their last defense fell to shambles, and Skill Issue has been wreaking havoc on Venture, the 3rd DPS of her team to play Venture, and suddenly they're getting so much value with them that I feel like Playgroup have really struggled to answer the Venture. Is the Venture that key that unlocks this for Pumpkins with the 2 minutes they have on the attack?
I mean, it's hard to say elsewise right now. That Venture's been an absolute menace, and we have seen situations where Play Group are able to take care of it, but you're not in a situation where you can give up a tick or two to give yourself a better advantage. That is 45% or 49%. That is a little less than half. Once that first tick goes through, panic is going to jump into their minds, and we've seen skill issue. Get around these corners, just deliver pressure, and especially if you're going to bring back out the Bastion, that is going to be the riskiest thing you can do, because they have been the target these last couple of maps. They have been constantly the first target and have been getting drained every single time. So I think the Bastion, it's going to be the biggest risk you do or do not take.
There's so much on the line here. Every small decision that they make, I feel like Play Group, they have two roads. It's get creative with it or stick with what they know.
I love
it. Okay, yeah, they're sticking with what they know, and the first wall that they got in their defense didn't work because it was just this awkward crack in it, which allowed the Lucio to get through and create enough dispersion. You know, if you get good walls here from Gangnam, then, you know, you're splitting the team up, you get a lot of value. However, you know, there really isn't too much of an answer to the Venture. At best, Bergenworth is going to be able to get some good disruptor or placements onto them. But still, there's so much punching power with a Venture Cassidy rematch recomposition, and it's all about just building ultimates. They've got the time. There needs to be no rush from Pumpkings. They might rush if they want to, but there doesn't need to be. They can just sit back, build ults. They're in the comfortable position. Can Play Group hold in?
Yep, gonna do the exact same thing again. Gonna force back Bipolar. Already going to focus out the Nemesis form. Coda getting super low out the gate here. As Pumpkins just trying to settle them up. Need to get rid of one person as the Immortality is already being taken care of. The wall has been taken care of. Already in an awkward position. Gangnam is now gone. God is falling slowly behind. And the Kings have solidified their place upon the throne. Pumpkins will be your EU Masters Tier champions.
The legacy has been cemented. It's been one hell of a match, one hell of a bracket, but Pumpkins, finally, they right the wrong of the mid-season. They cement themselves the champions of the tier, and it's from some amazing plays. Skill Issue wanted to prove themselves as one of the best tracers. I think they've proven themselves as the best Venture for sure, because this Venture pick worked perfectly in the final map of the 7th map of this series. And ultimately, the truth is this: if you're going to take a shot at the king, you better not miss. Pumpkins are your champions.
Yeah, unfortunately, just the grace to the head, but still, you have to give them all the credit in the world, pushing Pumpkins to the absolute limit here. As well as like taking that early advantage as well in that 2-1 situation where they just could not figure out the solution to the Sigma and this Bastion, but eventually they did unlock the sauce. They figured out what they needed to do to take care of it, and that showed a lot of dividends when we eventually got over to Junkertown, where they were eventually able to kind of force them away and take care of it. But I think the most important thing was looking at this Midtown. Just it was these little micro things that we saw come out. We especially saw them come out from Skill Issue, and even from Teddy, someone who, yes, early on I would give a lot of comments of dying first a lot of the time or not being as involved, but the ways they were able to stay alive in some of those fights and give their team the chance to reset as quickly as they did, I mean, phenomenally done. Like, genuinely phenomenal.
I mean, it's been an incredible series, an incredible bracket. This is just the cherry on the cake of what's been a beautiful season for this tier in EU, and these teams have really shown out. Both teams should be proud, but of course, Pumpkins are the champions. We're going to actually have a talk with Skill Issue from Pumpkins after this short break, so don't go anywhere. We'll hear from one of our champions in just a moment.
I'm so caught in this, we're so
Welcome back, everybody, from our break. We have just finished an absolute banger, map 7 here between Playgroup and Pumpkings. And Pumpkings, they come out victorious, the kings of the EU Master Tier. And what a better way to celebrate than bring in one of the winning members and a big fixture on the venture there. We have Skill Issue. Skill Issue, first of all, congratulations on the big Grand Finals victory.
Yeah, thank you. It's very heartfelt. We actually had a little bit of a mental block midway through, but we managed to fix it with the venture comp. Obviously, we saw after that map, we just turned it around.
It's fantastic. I mean, the one thing I have to ask out the gate here, because there's not a lot of players out there that have gone through a grand final and especially have won the thing. So whether this is your first, second, whatever it is, how does it feel after going through all this turmoil throughout this season, throughout the absolute back and forth mental that should have been this 7-map series? How does it feel to come out the other side, the winners of it all?
Well, I think it's just it's actually amazing. We all just screamed on top of our lungs after we won that map because I know I expected it to be a bit more one-sided towards us since our past games, but they did really well with the Bastion comp. We just didn't prep for it since we just didn't know who was going to play it. And it just felt amazing after we figured it out and we just won it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what a series, what a match. 7 maps is not an easy amount of Overwatch to play in a row. But before the map, I talked to you and you said one of the things you wanted to do in this finals is prove yourself as the best tracer in the tier. I think there's also a case for the venture as well. Do you feel like you've done that here?
I don't think with the Tracer, it was kind of tough to show Tracer with the Torb comp because Torb was just messing me over. But on Venture, I think I can prove myself. Next time, if there's another opportunity, I'll definitely show my Tracer another time. But for this time, I'm happy with the Venture.
Absolutely. I mean, there's arguments to say that Venture pick was the key to unlocking the final map and giving you the grand finals victory. So definitely a good call there. 3 of you actually played Venture throughout the match, didn't you? So that's quite incredible. This has kind of been basically a proving ground for the team, because in the mid-season you faltered at the final hurdle and Ushis were able to take that mid-season finals away from you. How does it now feel, basically going from being the bridesmaid now to the one team, the champion team? What did it feel in that moment of victory for all of the players?
I think we were super relieved because it was a very hard match. We didn't expect it to be as hard. So props to Playgroup there, but we just finally found relief after we just won it. Like I said, we all screamed on top of our lungs after we won that last fight. Wish there was a calm thing there, but it just felt really amazing. Obviously, we've changed a lot of stuff. There's some people leaving at the end of this season. We've changed with common structure and stuff. I know Fizzy wanted me to mention that, and we just improved and we showed it there. We was expecting Ushis, but obviously they got knocked out, which is kind of a surprise for us. I thought that was the second best team. They obviously proved that, but unlucky they got knocked out. But it was a very, very close match, and it's really good. Feels really good to win it, Yeah,
no, 100% agree there. It was an absolute banger, but of course, this isn't a one-person journey at the end of the day. Well, you've done a phenomenal job here today. You also have a wonderful team that is backed you. So what was your journey kind of like? Well, obviously, I'm not fully sure what your role was, but kind of not just bringing this team together, but the journey of going from this team who just decided to jump into this tier to now you are the champions. What was that kind of humble beginnings getting from this random team entering to now being the champions of that tier?
Well, I actually owned the org.
There we go.
They was made in. Originally, I wasn't even part of the team. Then I became assistant coach. Then I became a sub play for them. And I just played loads of games since Odin was out for some of the weeks. And it's just kind of spiraled from there. I was mainly off-rolling, but now I'm on like my main role on DPS. But I think from the start we didn't expect to win, but then when in group stages we showed our dominance mainly, only losing to Ushi's like in a 3-2 loss there, and I think that's when the team knew that we've got the possibility to win the entire thing. It was kind of down that we lost mid-season, but it didn't really matter to us in the end, since obviously we won the entire tournament. So yeah.
Oh,
that means we've only lost 2 games out of the entire season.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's
kind of crazy.
It's very impressive overall, but before we decide to get out of here or anything like that, obviously, while you kind of have this opportunity here on stream, anybody you really want to thank, not just for today, throughout this entire season, for everything, your mother, your teammates, your cat, this is the platform to do so.
Yeah. Sorry, I was zoned out.
No, I don't blame you.
I'm just zoned out.
It's been a long day.
Fair enough,
Yeah. I missed Shakehold's game. I'm manager of Shakehold, and I just missed the entire swim just to play this. So, rip Shakehold, I guess. Not a Shakehold frame drop, but same thing,
But no, just asking if there's anybody you want to thank, is all.
I think Sully is my assistant on most of my things, but I think the entire team should really want to get shout-outs. I'm just the young one for the ride, but thanks Sully for always being with me, I guess. But the entire team should deserve everything. I'm just here just to enjoy the ride,
Well, enjoy it, you did. Again, congratulations to you and the team, champions of the tier. I'm going to sneak in a final question. You say that some people are leaving after the season. Are the people that are staying, are they going to be in the next season, CGL?
We've not really decided, but I think the plan is to do that. Some of the people are moving more to subspot, more just leaving because they've got personal issues and stuff. But I think we'll rebuild and come back swinging, I guess, and just win the next one.
We'll be looking forward to it. But yeah, thank you for joining us. We'll let you get back to the team and let you celebrate and basically just relax after 7 maps of intense Overwatch.
Yeah, I didn't expect this at all.
Alright, thank you for joining us. We'll see you around.
No worries. Have a good rest of your night.
Oh,
wow.
Boy.
Wow.
7 maps, Hunter. What a buy. This is the first finals of the CGL finals weekend. Like, hello, this is how we start?
I'll keep repeating myself, and I'll probably repeat myself throughout the next couple of weeks. Did not think we would get this far, but I am so unbelievably happy that we managed to have such a banger as our very first grand final. Our first of, I believe, 8 grand finals that need to happen.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's going to be some journey, and before I forget, there is a shout out from the other team I forgot to make. Shout out to Lizzie. I meant to give that earlier, but I think it's fitting here in the final. Which also, like, congratulations also to Plate Group, because they were overlooked for a lot of that, right? Not a lot of people were giving them the respect that they've earned now. They deserved it before. They've earned it now. If you don't respect Group after Plate Group after this one, then I don't know what map you just watched, because they've cemented their own legacy as well as a top Masters tier contender. So also congratulations to them, because no one was really thinking this was going to map 7, and the fact that we are here is just amazing, and it also means that I am sweating my forehead off. But it's worth it. The love of the game, right?
Literally the love of the game, and it's the love of everything we're able to do here. So before we head out of here, we should let you know what else is going on this week, because we do know for a fact we have a little bit of a double header going on tomorrow, Gio. We will have another set of grand finals going on. Of course, we've got Red Team and Short Bus going to have their grand final, and then Sip Nation versus YE and Enra, which, I mean, if this is any estimation of what we're going to have here for the grand finals, I mean, I am ready to watch this, but you know, we do have a lot of people backstage as well that I feel like we always need to thank a little bit, Gio.
Yeah, I mean, 7 maps is not easy for casters, but it's just not as easy as for the people who are, you know, down there in the groundwork, giving you the visuals, the camera people of Overwatch. Our OBS today, we had a team of 3 for of Little Joe, Beam, and Orange. They brought us this amazing matchup, captured a lot of amazing moments, and of course, Hippy, the king of prod, bringing us this banger. I at one point had to make sure that this entire stream didn't go down by fixing their hotspots. So very clutch play there. This is it's not a one-man band, it's not a two-man band, it's not even a 5-man band. So many people behind the scenes make things like this happen. And finally, I just want to give another shout out to the players. 7 maps of Overwatch in a row. Man, I don't envy you. That must have been so difficult to keep the energy up, but the energy was up the whole way through, all the way to the end. But that's the end of tonight. We've crowned champions. There will be more finals. Keep an eye on the socials, on announcements for the next finals, because I feel like if this is where we're starting, imagine where we can go. Don't forget to laugh loud and love yourself, folks. I've been Gio, joined by Hunter. Good night.
Our inside here, you know, you get an insight and you know something, you know, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, you know. But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.